I do like that track. Hello, happy weekend. Uh, it's just me right now. I don't know where Chris is, so I will carry on. Um, hey, Chuck, Jeff, other Jeff, uh, Frank with his little emojis. Um, I don't know what's going on today. I don't really have anything. I just looked at the news, and it's not that there's not anything going on, but there's not anything out of the ordinary going on. Israel attacked a bunch of Palestinians. Miley Cyrus flaunted her cleavage. Something happened in the Indian election, Pakistan election, sorry. Or maybe it didn't happen. I don't know. I can't even tell from the headlines. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff that I saw on the news. So nothing there. Let me see if I have Twitter. What was I gonna say? We've mostly been watching movies and stuff from TV and Discord. I don't know if there's any streaming drama going on lately. It seemed to have like what do you call it? Escalated. It increased like the last few weeks a little bit. It seemed like everybody was having beef with everybody, but I don't know what the latest is. No, here's a tweet from Noah. The United States respects, empowers, and enriches working people more than any communist country that has ever existed. I think that's true, and I think that's why communism has such a hard time here, because the people don't feel oppressed or exploited, the middle class. They can have a good life here, and they see that through capitalism. So communism is a hard sell, and they are sending us terrible salesmen lately. Hey, Chris, what's up?
What's up, man? Sorry, I was I got sorry. I was talking to Redington on Discord, and I lost track of time, and I was like, oh crap, I gotta jump off here, man. I gotta go to the stream.
Oh,
I was explain.
was
I was
Redington trying to sabotage the channel?
what? No, Redington's a good guy. You
He
think
seems
Redington's
he
a
seems that way, but he could be faking it. What is that?
uh, what's that?
Oh, just a hat.
Yeah, it's a hat. I just to cover the bald spot. That's all.
Oh,
But no, right. I mean, in my experience, like every time I've ever talked to Reddington, he might troll a little bit in the chat or something like that. But he's a good faith dude, man. He's never said anything to me. I've talked to him a few times off stream. Like he's never said a single thing to me that made me think that he was like really like a serious troll type, or anything like
that could
that.
mean he's really good at what he does.
It could mean that, and maybe I am super naive and super willing to believe in people. But you know what? If I even though it gets me in trouble sometimes, like may I never change. Because I'd rather be the person that believes in people than the person that just like goes around like just like thinking everyone's out to get me all the time. That's what all the rest of these
Well, I
fucking
mean,
screwers do.
there's a more realistic balance between the two, but you would rather be the naive person that's always get taken advantage of.
Between the two, yes, I believe
Oh my god,
I'm trying to achieve the balance. Okay, I'm trying to achieve the balance. That's my
that's
goal. But
pathetic.
what?
That sounds pathetic.
Well, maybe so, but I mean, but given the choice, if there is only two choices between either being the guy that is naive and gets fucked over, or the guy that's like the Spurgers that think that everyone's a Fed and out to get them, and like they think they always think they're being like stalked and everyone's trying to bring down everything's trying to bring them down. They always think they're being spied upon. I'd rather be the naive person than being that guy. So,
Then the
but I
paranoid
mean,
guy.
yeah, the paranoid guy. I mean,
Yeah, that's what Flo. says about me that I think he's too paranoid, and he doesn't think I'm paranoid enough. He thinks I'm too naive. So there's like we both disagree where each other is on that balance, on that spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, I have my healthy share of paranoia, I guess, when it comes to certain things or something. But I really don't take it all the paranoia stuff that seriously. I take that stuff I take more as a joke. And I'd rather believe in people and get my heart stomped on than be be the guy that thinks that no, that every single person that comes in my life is constantly trying to hurt me or whatever. Like they all have ulterior motives. But I do try to achieve the balance. You know, I don't try to be either one of those extremes. I try to find balance in all of that stuff. I'm just saying, but if I have to, if I had to choose a side, then that's what the side I choose. I don't think I have to choose a side. I don't try to. That's my goal though. Is my goal is to find that balance. Is to be what do they say? You know, gentle as a lamb and sly as a serpent. You know, as I think Christ said. So I try to be I try to be both those things, but so, you can't always help it, you know. Sometimes some people like are really good at hiding it or whatever. But you know, if they're good enough to get past my defenses, then good for them. They outplayed me. I just
Or
need to
your
get good.
defenses are just really weak.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They outplayed me. My defenses are weak. I need to get good.
Because
So
I would I don't need to believe that people are a certain way because I have enough experience with them, like direct observation. Like so, I know what to expect from people, and I know how people are. So I don't have to believe they're innately good or have this or
I don't
believe that they're out to get me.
I don't believe that anybody's innately good. It's not that. It's just like I assume I assume good intent though. I assume good intent whenever I'm having a now. If someone is coming at me and they're obviously being like overtly like aggressive or negative, then you know I'm not gonna. It's kind of hard to assume good intent in that sense. But if someone's coming to me in what seems like by all accounts would look like good faith, I'm gonna assume good intent and just go with it until they show me something that's gonna they show me something that shows something other than that, if they start showing some other side of that, then at that point, then I will start questioning it. But until that point comes, I assume good intent. I just think that's I personally think it's the best way to exist. I think that assuming bad intent from people at all times turns you into one of those paranoid psychopaths that lashes out at people constantly and is always like, you know, like the people that like that girl that used to live in this house with me, that like every time you had a conversation with her, she always assumed that she always assumed bad intent, no matter what you could be talking about. Fucking Care Bears, you know, I mean something stupid and childlike or something like that, and she would assume that you're talking about Care Bears because you're trying to like, you know, manipulate her in some way, you know, like she always saw things through this negative lens. Everything was always about trying to do something negative to her. And after living and dealing with people like that for long enough, yeah, it changed. I was always an assume good intent person, but like it made me more hardcore assume good intent than I ever was before, because I don't want to be anything like that. I'd rather get shot in the street for being naive than live like that, because that's just like that's a shitty way to live. It's a shitty way to be as a person. It's just like, you know, it's just it's worthless. I mean, to me that's a worthless person. Like, well, what good is that person? What good could ever come from someone who assumes that every single person they interact with is trying to fuck them over in some way or another? It just makes sense to me. Maybe, and I could
I
be
don't know,
wrong.
but that's half the streamer. Like half the people in this community, to me, have that level of paranoia.
I know. I mean, I don't want to be. I don't want to be one of them. I never want
Or
to
at
be
least
that guy.
mistrust.
I never
Um,
want to be that guy. I never want to look me this way. There are times. Sorry, it's a song I know.
the thing that keeps me from being that guy is critically evaluating claims, sources, etc. And I just don't see. I feel like the people that are going to do that or interested in doing that or know how to do it are already doing it by now, and the people that are not are always gonna accept a certain amount of speculation or inference as fact. because the narrative is what's important ultimately, and they need some kind of narrative. I guess we all do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's as you know, that's kind of it's really that's kind of that's kind of my goal right now. It's what I'm trying to build up with like these projects I'm working on. I'm trying to I'm trying to create a more cohesive narrative for the community and stuff like that. I'm trying to create a narrative that everyone can kind of like center can kind of like fireflies to a light or whatever. No, not
What's the
fireflies, but like
narrative?
I don't know. I'm just trying to create one.
Oh,
I'm trying to see a narrative through the panel verse and make it fun and interesting for people, even people who aren't involved in it. I'm trying to make. I want to make something that's entertaining enough where that even if you never watch a single one of these streams, you could tune into it and see something entertaining and kind of get a kind of get a glimpse of like what the panel verse stuff is and kind of expand that audience to a more broad sense, and then and maybe try to push this community towards something that resembles something a little bit more like approachable, because I think right now
you don't think
it's
it's
so
approachable?
you kidding me? It's so dense, man. Like I don't know. Hank's been sending me some clips, and like I appreciate them too, and I've been telling him I appreciate them, but like I mean I don't even know what the hell
Hey,
the clips are
Moose.
about. I can't even like understand like the context of the clips he's sending me, and like I want to use them because like he's going out of his way to try to contribute, and I appreciate the fuck out of
Don't
that.
use
I
them if
think
they're
that
not good. Just use what works.
no, I will. I mean, if I can't understand the clip, I can't make jokes about it. I'm not going to do it. But I'm just saying I appreciate the fuck out of the effort though. He's putting effort in. I appreciate that a lot. I
Who's
think it's
this?
really cool. Hank.
Hank? Oh,
Yeah, Hank. But I don't understand what I just don't like. I watch the clip and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be getting from this. I don't understand anything like
that's how I
what we're
feel about
talking about.
Neurojacks. That's how I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
about a lot of the content actually that I see.
Well, now I will give. I'm going to say this. I told Nerjack this the other day. His last couple of videos, actually, last three specifically, the last three that I've watched of his, have actually he's actually getting a lot better at putting a consistent a consistent understandable theme through them. He's getting better. He's getting better every time, and I think he's getting closer to like kind of cracking the code on like how to make these videos where like they actually kind of like deliver some kind of like message tied to them, where they don't just seem like random clips that don't have any cohesive point to them. Like I told him that before, and I told him that off stream, and I've said it on stream too. But I mean,
So
I
what?
think
Getting back to this thing about being unapproachable,
mhm.
what what makes us unapproachable?
I didn't say our stream. I'm talking about most streams. I'm talking about like it's like okay, just jumping into flow state stream can be very
Really?
disorienting. To me, it is.
More more so than here?
Yeah, I think a lot more sort of here. Like I don't
Oh,
know. I think we come
I don't know. I
across
guess I hang out there so much. I'm used.
one
It's
second.
not. It doesn't have that effect on me. Maybe it's hard for me to see it through a newcomer's eyes.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's just like I mean, and like I've been there a bunch too. I mean, it's not like I haven't been there at all, but like if I'm not there for if I don't go on Flow State Stream a couple of times, and then I got something. And then I don't go on. I kind of like just kind of like nope out of that for a couple of minutes. Then like the next time I go on there, I don't know what's going on anymore. People are talking about some new drama and all this stuff and it's like such a big commitment to try to understand the ins and outs of what's going on in these things, and like some to some degree, and that like, that's the appeal for some people. I know some people that's the appeal, the depth of it. It's like
I
it's
don't.
like a soap opera that it's like a
I don't
soap
know
opera that
that.
you have to watch every single episode of, right? Like it's a soap opera that goes every day, and if you miss like 1 week's of soap opera,
Not it, to
then
me.
you're
It's
lost.
looser and more freeform than that. It's not really anything like you
It
have to watch.
feels
It's
that
not even
dense.
like the Big Brother live feeds because the characters are not always consistent. The drama threads are not always cohesive.
Which
They
just kind of makes it harder to do. Like, I mean, if there
the
was
the best the
consistent,
best entry into the panel verse is to just come into the panel, like hop and get in the pool with everybody else and just get a taste of it. I don't know how you introduce it to an outsider that doesn't know what it is.
and and
Good
and
morning,
and a
Redington.
and yeah, hey man, Reddington, what's up, man? I was just talking to Redington. I think it's more than that though, man. It's like a lot of these panels too. They come across like our panel. I think our panel is like the best jumping point. I mean, like, and I'm biased obviously because it's our panel. I
I
think
don't
our
think
panel is the
it's for
best.
everybody.
I don't think it's for everybody, but I think our panel is the best jumping in point because ours is the least negative and aggressive. A lot of these panels, like
What? Are we on the same panels?
me and you are very nice, approachable people. I'm sorry, I've watched our panels versus other people's panels. Like, I mean, Flo himself, I like Flo, but he can come across like really like aggressive and like kind of like abrasive at times. I think that's kind of his brand, though. You know, he's not like he's not exactly a welcoming presence all the time. He
I
can
got
be,
a
but he's
12
not.
in politeness
A 12? What's that mean? A 12 out of
out of
100?
100 on my Big Five test, the Jordan Peterson test.
Those tests are all bullshit anyway. I don't believe the results of one of those
Well, I'm
tests.
just telling you, I scored a 12 in
Good. Well, I think that's a
politeness
good
out of
score as far as
100.
I'm concerned.
But, like,
I like the number 12, so I'm good with that. You know, there's 12 disciples, 12, 12 hours in the day. You got
so
12
getting back to this unapproachable, because I'm getting. Is it our stream that's unapproachable, or the panel verse in general, because
the
of
panel
people
verse
like
in
real
general.
estate having a
I do
stream like they have?
I think I personally think our panel is very approachable, which is why we have which is why we have the
That's why
diverse.
the unapproachable is throwing me off, because that's what you open with.
I
But
wasn't
you
talking
meant
about I was talking about our stream. I'm talking about okay, speakeasy, like verbal combat. That's kind of unapproachable. You gotta be prepared for going in there and getting like getting people like just like like insulting the shit out of you. You got like people like the Illumitomies. You got even I mean, and I love TML to death. I mean, he's my favorite people in the world. But his stream can be very he lets on a lot of troll type people that can be very intimidating for a lot of people who do not understand what's going on, who do not get the overall dynamic that's going on there. It can be very intimidating and very like kind of like intimidating to listen to, intimidating to jump onto. Um, just the fact that we have kind of like that no troll policy keeps us kind of in that thing. I mean, we have heated debates, but generally speaking, everyone gets to speak, and we do occasionally do like interview type streams where we'll let someone speak for a long period of time to try to get their point across. But for the most part, we have conversations here, and we will let anybody speak that wants to. Um,
how big
um,
do you think the panel verse is? Because I imagine it much larger than me and you and Machine and Flo and Talcott and Paul and
Of
Slade or whoever.
course.
are you joking? Are you joking, Jobber? I think you're
Probably
joking.
people have told me that kind of stuff before. Usually women, like sheltered white women and gay people, gay men.
I mean, if you're being serious, seriously, come on, explain this to me because like I don't see it, but like but I think you're joking, but I could be wrong. Okay, yeah, he's joking. Yeah, because like that's what because like you come on the stream all the time.
I'm
Like
mostly
why would
just sitting here. I mean,
yeah, I know it's exactly my point.
how intimidating is that?
What's up, Redington?
That cheetah print's kind of intimidating.
The cheetah printed. Well, Frank told me to wear something nice tonight.
Kind of loud.
It's not made from my grandmother's porch curtains.
Well, he was talking about. He said that if as long as you wore something like that, then he would participate in the read through. I'm trying to. I've been starting putting up dates and times that we could do the read through thing for the script, and I'm trying to get people to commit to a time and date. And so that's where that came from. But
I don't know if
I,
y'all
I've
can
I,
tell, but the colors are red, black, and gold.
in my personal
It's the
opinion,
African. It's very black. It's the African colors.
that shirt in my opinion is straight up fire, man. That shirt, and I'm not joking. I fucking love that shirt. I love that shirt. I love the color pattern of it. I think it's badass. So like you got no complaints from me.
Well, it
I love
only
shit like
really
that.
matters what Frank thinks about it. He's the one
You're
that
right. You're right. He's the only one that
keeps,
really matters. That's
he's the
true.
one that keeps the book.
It's the monkey that's the judge.
Well, have you ever seen The Prisoner from the 60s?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind. It's it's a never mind. I can't explain that. A monkey plays into it, but I'll just leave it at that. It's a great show. You should check it out. It's only like it's not even that many episodes of it. But I've been a busy little Discord bee today. I've been on Discord like trying to like get times up and trying to organize for like the script read through. I've been trying to post ideas and stuff for like the different shows and trying to pull stuff. I've actually been trying to like get some work done this morning, so need to be working on the house, but I have been too dizzy to really do much in terms of like I'm still at the point where like getting around the house to do the cleaning stuff is just like I like, do I want another broken rib? Do I want to take that risk? Like, you know, because it's like every time I start trying to clean, it's like well, I might make it through the next hour without breaking a rib, but I might not. So I think maybe I should just like work on things that I can sit and do. So yeah. Anyway, bubble back in the prisoner reference. What? Yeah, Tim. I broke a rib back in November, and I nearly broke one about a few weeks back. It healed. It didn't break all the way, so it was just a small fracture. But yeah, I broke in 2 ribs from my vertigo falling over. Trying to clean the house because our house has become a disaster zone because of the fact that just like I have milk because like I can't really do I had everything kind of cleaned up and like I was kind of getting things stacked up and I had things in boxes and I had things stacked so I was getting ready to like move the car and then I had a vertigo episode that took me by surprise and I fell into the boxes and knocked them all over the fucking place downstairs and so my downstairs looks like a fucking hurricane hit it and it's like overwhelming to the point of being like panic inducing. But I mean, if you saw my house, you'd think I was the dirtiest person in the world. But it's not like it's not because of like just because of not cleaning. It's because I fell over and knocked over all of the work I had done and destroyed like I destroyed like 2 weeks of work and created like probably another month of work for myself. So yeah, it happens with vertigo, but I'm on a path to recovery. They say now, so I'm happy about that. I just like it's really hard. I've always been the cleaner in my house. I've always been the guy that kept things clean. I've always been the guy that did the cooking and the cleaning and stuff like that. I have no problem being a house husband. I am very happy doing that. But but it's become a mortal danger for me to do so. So I have to kind of try to keep myself from doing that until I find some sort of a solution to this vertigo thing, so I can actually start living a normal life again. So it's just it's part of the way it is. Of course, and like and all this wouldn't be and just but then just the other day, then my car we have a van that was given to us a while back and now it's not really it's turning on and everything, but it's not really running right. It's doing this thing where you turn it on, you can feel the engine shaking from side to side, and I think that's probably a bad sign. I'm not sure, but it seems bad. Seems pretty bad. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what to do about it. And
Oh, you have a cheetah filter? Damn. Is that it with StreamYard? Do I have it on StreamYard? Or is that some other software you're using? I would definitely do a cheetah filter.
I don't. Are there filters like that on StreamYard? I don't even know those.
No, I don't think there are.
I'm not aware of those. Yeah, come and show it, man. I mean, wow, just come up in general, like, man, like, let's just so we can talk, Choppa. Let's chop it up, Choppa.
Running
Camo.
Oh, and
Okay.
camo. That's the phone camera. Oh, I'm excited to see cheetah. Oh, I think it was on camo that the filters were. Now that I think about it. Well, he'll pop out
I'll go over anyway. But no, I don't think I wasn't talking about our stream. I was talking about unapproachable. I was talking about like I think a lot of
you said something about like the panelverse being unapproachable, and I think it was in relation to a project you were doing to try to make it more approachable, and how
Sorry
hard
about
it was
this.
to
I didn't
find a
get ready
way.
before I clicked the link, so I'm just loading the software here. It's taking a minute.
No problem, man. No, yeah. I mean, Fedcast and Panel Survivor are kind of like my two attempts to try to make a more approachable version of a more approachable introduction into Panelverse.
More approachable version of chaos.
Yeah, like just an entry point that people can get into that can see.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Wow! Arr, grr!
Wow!
You're so scary. I can't hear you talking though.
Muted, son.
Muted. Okay.
Looks like you're meow. You're trying to meow.
Oh shit! Maybe I have to take myself off mute so I can actually talk.
There you go.
It's an app called Camo. You run it on your PC and you run it on your phone, and basically turns your phone, or well, in this case, I'm using my tablet here just for convenience. But you run it on those two devices, and then there's a list of like different AR filters it'll run for you. It's not terribly complicated to set up, but you do have to just go into the settings, and when it installs correctly, there'll be an option called Camo under the camera option in StreamYard, and when you switch to that, it'll just work.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. Oh, and hey, and I just checked I just checked because like I always get here from the YouTube link, and as I was on our page earlier. We were at 191 subscribers. We're almost at 200.
Oh my god!
Congratulations!
There.
Hell yeah!
9 subscribers away from 200, man. We're on our way. We are on our
Fucking
way. 200 subscribers on our way. Come on.
And maybe we need to get some more trolls in here or something to kind of
shake them out of the tree.
Well, sometimes they're good just for spreading the word.
But then look at the audience they bring.
Yeah, that is that. I mean, that there's pros and cons, man. I get it. But
I'm okay with the way we're growing our audience right now. I'm happy with the way
we just keep doing what we're
I like
doing.
the organic growth. I mean, I kind of ran into you guys. How did I find you, Jeff? Do you remember how
I don't know. I don't know how anybody finds us. I'm surprised
Jeff and his dogs play video games. And did you know Frank? Were you and Frank?
Yeah, I knew Frank from Illumitommy's. It was probably through Illumitommy's how I know you, because I think I saw you guys get into it one night.
So the trolls are the ones that bring the boys to the yard, unfortunately. So
well, see,
maybe I do need to rethink that troll strategy.
I mean, I don't think it's an exclusive strategy.
But then it seems like
there's multi-pronged of ways of going at things. I'm sure, right? I'm no fucking expert by any means, but yeah, I think the channel's going in a good direction. I think you're building a great community here, Jeff. I do like the nightly movies, even if I don't always. Oh, my app just crashed. Yeah, there's something going on with my app on my tablet because it'll just randomly crash, and I've reinstalled and refreshed and restarted. I don't know. It worked a couple of times when I was streaming Starfield, but. Yeah.
Hey, and welcome to that's the first time I've ever seen you in the chat before, Catamus Rex. Welcome.
Yeah, I am a troll.
I know Catamus. I know Catamus Rex.
Yet another.
I'm a troll banner. What does that even mean?
I would rather watch
He
Jeff
bans trolls
with cheetah face and hear about the app and stuff than have to fight off trolls and have them hijack the conversation.
Well, I don't know if they're here to stop me or not.
When you infest your panel with trolls.
Hijack the narrative.
Yep. But I got some projects I needed to focus on today, guys. But I'm going to be listening in. But I plan on joining up the next couple of days. I'm off work, so.
Okay, that sounds cool. And thank you for showing us the cheetah.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me up as always. Y'all have a good one.
Okay. Yay.
Definitely. StreamYard ain't loading for me. Oh shit! I don't know why StreamYard wasn't be loading for you. What are you running it on, Tim? Are you running it on a phone or on a computer? If you're depending
people
on the
that run on the phone said the site works better, like the browser works better than the app.
Yeah,
I'm not frightened of the trolls. They're disruptive. I'm not here. I don't
we're not
want to
frightened
waste
of the
my
trolls.
energy on
We
their
just
games.
generally dislike them.
It's not fear.
Yeah. You're on a Windows PC. What browser are you using then, Tim? Because like I have had issues with certain browsers like and StreamYard. Honestly, the best one, and this I know this is like sacrilege to say, but like honestly, Edge is probably the best browser to use for StreamYard. Because StreamYard seems to run smoother on Edge than it does for me on Chrome or on Opera. So, or definitely on Firefox does not run well at all for StreamYard. So, I would definitely just use, because if you have a Windows PC, you've already got Edge on there. Try to run it off of Edge. I know Edge sucks, but I mean it works better
What guy? Frosty, me? We could say the same thing about you yesterday. You didn't even stay on the panel. I don't care if people take me seriously. This is an entertainment show channel. I don't care who takes me seriously. All I'm doing is sharing things from my life, things I've noticed, I've observed, I've experienced. I'm not trying to make some grand dogmatic statement about reality on here.
And you're welcome to come back on, Frosty. Come on back.
Oh,
come on back on.
Well, come on in. It's just don't pee in it.
Just I mean, come on, just to explain exactly what it is you mean that after yesterday we don't take it seriously. What? Because
obviously he's here butthurt inventing.
Okay.
I guess from yesterday when he spouted a bunch of conspiracy crap that nobody bought because it sounded crazy.
He says you're an absolute genius. So I mean, hey, whatever.
I get that all the time.
Sad trombone.
Sad trombone. I love that. That's your. I think that's Redington's. That is Redington's absolute. That's your tagline, man. That's like your.
Then why are you worried about it? Like, why are you wasting so much energy on something that's not worth your time? He's from who's streaming? Is that Chopper? He's from Jeff's channel. I see. Okay, I didn't realize you were on Jeff's channel. Well, you said a bunch of crazy stuff that I didn't. That didn't make sense to me. I didn't believe it. A lot of other people didn't believe it, and you just tried to insist that it was true. No, it's just banning and blocking just gets them out of my hair. I don't have to see them, worry about them.
What is today? It's October the what?
Okay, you said that already. That's why I'm wondering why you're here.
February
it sounds like
10th?
like there's other things you'd rather be doing that you get more out of. I'm not trying to act like I'm anything. Just sit here hosting a panel show. Chris Redington, what's on your mind? On your minds?
I don't know.
I've been working on trying to. I've been doing my community building best to try to like build up people. I mean, trying to get people together on like some of these projects and stuff like that. I'm trying to get the a few of my little projects together, like the Fedcast project. I'm trying to get together the Panel Survivor project. I'm trying to get together the No Hitters project. I'm trying to get together the script read through project. I'm reaching out to people, trying to find. I've also been reaching out to potential guests and stuff like that we can have on the show. I've been doing all that sort of things. So I've been a busy little bee today. Until I woke up hella early for some reason. I guess because I fell asleep fairly early for me. I took one of those stupid like those pills that I've been trying to avoid taking, but I really wanted to sleep, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna take it, and I took it and I blacked out. But I made sure I actually went to bed. I actually went to bed and laid down first, so like I knew that I went to bed and laid down, so wasn't just like up doing stuff and just didn't remember. So I remember going to bed, so that made me feel better. So I laid down, went to sleep, and I woke up. at like 9 in the morning and started trying to like get to work on stuff. So maybe it'll be a good pattern for me. Maybe it'll be good to get things going like that. I'm just I'm trying to make the best use of the time I have right now to try to like while I'm waiting all the other stuff to come through. I'm also trying to figure out what to do about our fucking car, which is just so stupid, man.
I feel like we're laying by a river or a stream, chewing grass, with a stalk of grass in our mouth, just chatting.
Yeah, well, that's why I like this. That's why I like our stream.
Looking at
It's like,
clouds.
we're just like hanging out, just being like, yeah, it just says whatever, man. Just hanging out, having a smoking a beer or something like that.
Smoking a beer.
Yeah, like rednecks. You're laying out in the grass. You got a little, you got a cigarette. You got a beer. You're just hanging out. Like, hey, what's up, man? Some king of the hill kind of shit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I very much know.
I think it's the only reason I didn't get into King of the Hill that much when I was younger, because I was like, that's just the way like people.
I know
are.
that the same here. Yeah, it was same exact me. It was like an animated version of reality.
Now that I'm far enough away from like living in that environment where like I'm in a bigger city and stuff like that, I see King of the Hill and it's kind of like nostalgic. I'm like, oh, I remember those people. I remember guys. I know people like that.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead was the same way for me.
Right, exactly. Oh man. Let's see. Often I get that vibe. Yeah, actually, mean people do that.
Frank had asked me what some movie suggestions were, and I have 2 lists we've been keeping full of movies.
Yeah, but, I've got a couple of movies that I need to get people together for, though. I really want to watch, but I want to watch with the group because I want to discuss them on this stream thing, this no hitter stream thing. That I specifically, they're really obscure movies that I think that have a lot of merit to them that I'd like to watch and have discussions for. But it's just a matter of getting people to actually trying to find people to commit to like actually like show up and watch them. It's always the problem, but it's okay. Like I feel like the persistence is starting to pay off a little bit. People are starting to respond a little more. People are starting to start taking it a little more seriously. So I'm good with all of it. Like I said, my main thing is to be blocked up.
Jeff and cat and dog fight. Dog Jeff and Catamus Rex. I thought he was fighting with what's the guy, the broccoli guy.
I don't. Where did Catamus even? I don't even see any comments from him recently. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's cool. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's my brain is like my brain feels like mush right now. So like thankfully I got that.
Oh well, we can let's see. We haven't even gone for an hour. We can wrap up early. We have those shows to finish, but that's it. And I don't know what's his face is.
Frank wasn't. He was in the chat at the beginning. I just talked to him online a little while ago. He was on Discord. He's probably out there.
We might have to do stream court. Impromptu.
Are we gonna have to do stream court, guys? Is that what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to do stream court to like
Al Munson. I saw him earlier. What's Al's role in all this?
Who mentioned Al Munson?
Because that's a good point. Like as each channel grows, that brings more people to the panelverse, and more people means more drama threads and plot storylines. All that stuff increases. So it's like a constantly growing, perpetuating universe.
Yeah.
Because now all these people have drama. All the new people have drama. And then they're going to have to get filled in on all of the... This must be Tim.
Hey, One True Tim. What's going on, my man? First time seeing you on camera. Good to see you, man.
What is up?
You're
Can you
muted.
hear?
No, you're not. No,
That
you're not
work?
muted. Yeah, you're
I
good,
think
man.
so.
Sweet.
You are good.
Yeah. I hate the
Oh,
headphones.
you got it to
I feel
work?
like I'm underwater. Maybe I'll do one.
There you go.
If I unplug it, it's going to get all weird. How do you do yours?
What I have this like back. I used to do customer service for Amazon, so back when I used to do it all the time, they gave us these terrible headphones. So I actually spent my own money to buy this Jabra headset. It's a really high quality like wireless headset I use, and like it's got like it's just like that's what I use for everything because it's super comfortable and it doesn't wear my ears out. But like I wouldn't expect most people to use this sort of thing. So
It looks like Jeff has some wizardry in effect. How do you not have echo? You just good with the mute button like that?
no, you
No.
just gotta set up your sound setup so
I have
like
echo cancellation turned on.
Wizardry.
yeah.
I have it set to it's StreamYard wizardry, and I have it set to automatically adjust my mic volume, and I have it I have two different sets of speakers, and one of them echoes more than others, so I keep it on one set of speakers over another to minimize the echo.
Sounds like wizardry. Impressive.
It just depends on how you have your say like the mics, like most blue mics, like the Yetis and the Snowballs. They have like I don't know if the Snowball does it has the directional setting where it only captures from directly in front of you too. So like if there's sound coming from behind the microphone, it's not going to pick it up. So you'll be able to hear that sound, but the microphone won't pick it up. So
that's
usually
I always feel like stuff is new, even if it's not. Like I've never worn headphones to talk to a mic before. Different vibe, gotta feel it out. I appreciate you guys letting me hang on this.
Yeah,
Saturday.
what's going on? What's on your mind?
You're welcome
all
at all
kinds of
times.
stuff. You guys talking about the different merits between trolls and good faith actors. I don't think most people know where they stand if they were pushed on which they are. They might hope they're one or the other, but
there are plenty of people that are being trolls that think they're good faith. That is true. And I don't know if there's many people the opposite. I don't know if there's many people that are being good faith that think they're trolls, but the one
online left is
they're
that
actually not.
They think they're all, got a higher moral position and that they're binary, which they usually defer to like fascist v communist kind of mark there. They'd be like, you're a fascist or the communists. I think that's exactly what they are. They're just trolls that operate along a false binary. It doesn't get them where they think they are, but they still, and honestly, I kind of side politically with the ideal that the online left would claim to prescribe to, but they tend to be bullies and bigots, which is
right.
Opposite of what they. So maybe I'm starting
what ideal is
too
that?
deep, maybe.
Just like equality to certain things, I'm sure, right? Just like being genuinely empathetic towards people, things like that. Probably.
You can't
I'm guessing
force
that's what you mean.
if people don't feel empathetic, you can't force
Well,
them.
no, I'm just saying, but like you can still believe in like that it's a good thing to be empathetic and to be nice to people.
Yeah, but so what if people are not going to be empathetic? That's like Jack Talcott's peace and love.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Society. If people are not going to act that way, what's the point of building a society based around people?
And how's that work when everything is online? I mean, even mentally, not just technically, like you fill out a job application online, you do your banking online, you do your shopping. I don't mean in that sense. I mean, if you are to be real, if what you say is to matter in any way, shape, or form, it's got to be here in this experiment. And I don't think we've quite figured out what the difference in empathy versus the appearance of empathy online is. I think there's a lot of gray area, and people are putting the cart in front of the horse with being on the right, on the left, being this generation, being that generation. And I don't think any of us got together before to figure out what the rules were. There's just a lot of false binaries out here. So I have empathy for people, but mostly frustration and disdain. That I would like to get to the empathy, but it's too gosh darn frustrating to figure out how to have a conversation online that's not already charged by some false binary. So I'm just so frustrated with everything out here. That's
me
where
too.
I'm
Or a bunch of conspiracy theories. And yet, despite all of that, because in the panelverse, at least this little corner of it, people have some wildly diverse opinions, and we're still able somehow to connect or communicate or have empathy for each or something. Like there's something that
Camaraderie.
transcends the ideological differences that allows us to
There is definitely a
have all that
camaraderie.
anyway. Camaraderie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
camaraderie
guess
between each
so.
other.
I see a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
that
It's your
too,
voice,
but it's
iPhi.
troll to good faith actor operator in those circles.
Here's
I think it's
somebody
tough
that can
to
help us
tell.
with. Yeah, come on up, iPhi. We need you for this topic.
I see a lot of trolls that I empathize with more than good faith actors because I think they're operating with some aggravating, agitating feature in their brain or heart, and they're looking for a way to deal with that. They weren't raised right, is what it is. The parents didn't give them the right attention.
I don't
love.
know. I think people are underestimating them and giving them a pass because people like Tommy, I've noticed he does act differently on different panels, and he is capable of changing his behavior. So, like that powerlessness or helplessness, that victim mentality of it, I don't so much buy into.
But sometimes his
Oh,
dealer's
no,
passed out
me
and
neither.
he can't get his shit. So that's why.
So I think if you are able to see someone and say, yeah, I see you acting up, I see you acting out, I hear you, you're freaking hilarious, but you call them out on it, it's almost like, like prison rules. You get into a tussle with someone and you might be best friends as best can be in that situation with them because you've allowed that person to discharge that toxic thing that rides. And in one community, they might remain toxic because people keep them at that like arm's length. So if you or a community is able to allow that person to discharge that frustration, then you might have a loyal ally that would have otherwise been nothing but a troll. Does that make sense?
It makes sense on the surface, and I'm thinking about it, and we do let people come in here and discharge and that type of stuff. But the type of trolling that I'm talking about that I try to keep out of here, it's not so much that they're doing like a discharge here and there, and then they're resetting to some kind of baseline and integrating with the rest of the group.
It's about disruption.
Constant, huh?
It's about disruption. That's the problem. That's what we have a problem with.
Yeah, it's like a constant, nonstop discharge, and it's not in coordination with any other person or anybody else in the group. They just come here to like spurg out or discharge.
They take over.
There's no
They
purpose
take over
to
the
it.
panel.
It doesn't end. It's not therapeutic. It doesn't achieve any kind of goal for them. It's just this constant state, and it keeps the conversations that I like to have from happening because then everybody defaults to that lowest common denominator troll level of discourse.
We have plenty of trolls that come on here. We have plenty of trolls that we welcome on here, and we let them come on here and spurg out a lot of their stuff and stuff like that. But they are the same. But the trolls that are willing to stop and let other people speak and argue points and stuff like back and forth. It's the people that will just freight train, like talk nonstop and won't let anyone else speak, and will make sure that no matter what, if anybody else does speak, it all ends up being directed back to them. That's the ones we have trouble with. It's a problem with.
I don't have trouble with them because I don't let them on. People like Tommy and Snafu, they don't even come on.
I'm just saying, but
those
are the ones that we keep off, and the only ones we ban from comments are people that are just like just spewing hate in the comments. If someone's just out there just
getting better. You're saying it's just the same disruptive, destructive, going nowhere, burning lots of energy up. It doesn't go anywhere. But what I guess I laid out a lot. Like I said, I might have gotten too deep, too fast. We're looking at the whole internet, the whole panel-osphere. And you're saying there's a lot of conspiracy theorists. That's one category. Might be based on some truth, even where the normie consensus is not accurate, even though it's, the consensus. That's one category. Lots of categories we're working with. And in my mind, the biggest one is we online behave according to different rules than what we would physically. You have more available to you physically. So to get to the point. Online, on the panelosphere, there's usually an ideal or a point, or when you say it's disruptive and that's bad, what is it disrupting? What is the panel getting at? What is the end? What is the ideal?
It's disrupting higher quality conversations that are more philosophically oriented, more collaborative. It's disrupting, like Jeff shared his cheetah face earlier. It's disrupting people from sharing their own topics of interest that they might not get a chance
You
to share
can say it, but most other people have a hard time coming up with something that, even if they can say it, bears out the same way.
Okay,
So,
let me put it like this. Let me
ahead.
put it like this. This is the easiest example I can think of. Okay, let's say that we're having a conversation about I'm trying to think of like a really good one we had.
And I don't have any bones with what you're saying. I'm just
I know you're not.
I'm
just trying to provide an example so it's not just like a vague thing I'm saying. Like, say we're having a really good conversation about about the merits of different kinds of religious beliefs or something like that, and it's a back and forth between, like, we're on Machine Lies panel or something like when we're talking about, he's a Muslim, I'm kind of a Gnostic Christian, and there's another Christian or something like that, and there's other people like that, and everyone's kind of getting there, but then someone jumps on the panel, and suddenly, and they're just like, they start just spur screaming about flat Earth suddenly, and like in flat Earth is one of those things that tends to trigger kind of everyone's just like, oh my god, flat Earth, come on, but they won't shut up about it no matter what. They're just like, and you won't even address the fact that the flat Earth, like, the thing, and they just keep screaming at everybody, and they make the whole thing about them, to the point where, like, that conversation we're having, which was actually kind of like where people were actually kind of coming together on something and kind of having a discussion that actually, like, maybe had some, it may not solve anything, but everyone is learning something from it. It turns into a thing where everyone's having to defend themselves, or trying to end up attacking the guy that just wants to talk about flat Earth or about lizard people or whatever, and, like, maybe there's a time and place for those arguments, but it's not whenever we're having this other conversation, and it needs to be done respectfully and not with screaming and insults, where, like, a lot of the times these people will just start screaming, like, they'll just start screaming out just epithets and just basic insults, just base insults about, like, whatever. I've heard the worst. I'm talking about everything from the N word to the F word to the everything else, like, and we'll just start screaming that at certain people, being like people like to come on the streams, like when Jeff's on, and, like, they'll just be like, yeah, I shouldn't have listened to you because you're a Satanist, and you're a Satanist, and all Satanists need to be killed, and Satanist. They'll say that over and over again. And, like, and like, it's just like, like, what's the, if you have a problem with Satanism, that's fine. Present your point. Present what your problem with it is. But just saying, like, Satanists are all evil and they all need to be burned or something like that, that's not productive, and it's not useful. It's just screaming it's just screaming at people. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So whenever I'm talking, it's not, see, trolling is kind of an art form, and they're not actually even doing trolling. What they're doing is just something that's much lower level than trolling. What they're doing is
a good troll is
they're just being,
it moves it along.
They're just being assholes. Okay, so, like, we tend to use the term troll, but I don't really mean troll when I say troll. When I'm talking a spurg or asshole, I think is the better word. They're just being
some
dicks.
of it is spurg. Us is autism. Like with Tommy, a lot of it is, I think, his autism.
I get it. Asperg. Okay. All right.
Yeah. There you go. Asperg. I just got that too. Wow. I just got the spurg. Okay.
Oh, y'all didn't know this?
I didn't know that's where the root of spurg. I just thought spurg was just something that came out of it came out of nowhere. I did not realize it was asperg.
Oh, makes sense.
That's actually that makes me feel really, really dumb that I didn't get that till now.
iPhi, did you come to hypnotize me with your backgrounds?
Yes, I want you to all witness and worship the Hypnotoad.
All hail Hypnotoad. Hypnotoad is all.
Who dressed you today?
Also, yeah, iPhi bot 2.0 is a little more masculine because Chris thought the last one was too effeminate.
I was. We'll talk.
No, look at the strong jawline. It's very masculine.
No, the hair is not masculine.
No, the hair is not.
Cardigan or whatever you're wearing is not masculine.
John Lennon rocked the hairdo.
It has a jawline?
Yeah, look.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Turtleneck.
It's much more
Let us
square
know how you
jaw
do with the lady.
than the
Well, and
V-shaped.
don't get me wrong, I'm not going to talk. I don't have much of jawline myself. I'm not like I'm not really judging. I'm just saying like I'm not seeing it. But I mean,
If you look at the last one, it's much more
So.
feminine face. It was like a triangle shaped face. So that's the default anime femboy, So
before I lost weight, I literally had no chin line at all. So
Are you
I'm
Asian?
happy I have a chin at all these days.
maybe. Who's asking?
Me.
I identify as a Chinese jet pilot.
Okay.
So do you guys see
I'm
this as a tournament
Eurotrash.
out here, like a fight, or is it more like chill? I guess that's where troll falls. I mean, is it chill, or are we?
And
First of all, I don't think
They
Troy
try to
in here.
hijack the panel and
on this panel is like my this panel is like okay, this panel is like my comfort spot. I'm very comfortable in this panel. I chill out here. I don't.
this
I don't
is
ever
like
get
the
really
back
upset.
court. This is like hanging out on the back.
Yeah, this is like the green room where you drink tea and chill out. So before you go to the fight.
Maybe. See,
Only
I told you
tea.
they feminized you.
Are there other rooms in the same house that we're describing here?
Well, there are it's more like a little cluster of homes, like a little community village, I guess. And
I mean, like
other
there's
streamers.
machine lies. Either hey, just
Yeah, see this
I
guy
said
right
his
here.
Speak of the
name.
devil.
I said your name and you appeared. You must come on the panel now.
Speak of the devil. Then he
I seriously,
appears.
There's other
I
streamers that
said
have
the
their own
machine
little
lies. I hadn't
environments,
even finished my
and
sentence. I
we
said the
kind of
machine
all
lies, and bam, there he
link up.
was. That was magic, dude. I just conjured you from the ether, man. That's awesome.
I'm sure you didn't. He doesn't. He never
No,
sleeps.
I know
He was
I
probably in
didn't.
front of the screen.
I just
So,
joking
yeah,
around,
Jeff
man. I
is
know
for
I didn't
more
actually
chill,
conjure anybody
like
from the ether. Come on now.
just kind of rando topics
People say
and
that,
stuff.
but they haven't seen me irritated. Well, they have. Some people have.
No, but I mean,
I'm being
Exile,
irritated.
Outliers and Exile is pretty chill. There's very random.
Yeah, well, that's what we're going for. Got to
There
rub.
seems to be a right-wing connotation that I'm curious about, like an anti-commie kind of vibe. There are political.
We have.
That's
commies
me. I'm the
We have
anti-communist.
commies. I mean, like
panel.
I've said many times before. Like, if I believed that it was possible, if I thought communism was at all humanly possible, I would think it would be a great idea. If it weren't for the fact that it's just completely not
What about
possible.
socialism?
Most of us found each other through the either IDW or enlightened centrist movement. So there is kind of this political theme against extremism on either side.
So you say IDW.
Show up on the left these days, it seems.
Like Brett and Eric Weinstein IDW or Sam Harris?
No, but
Ben Shapiro. Like, what are we talking? What does that mean? I'm just going to push a little.
Not so much them themselves, but the little community that grew up around some of those people that follow each other. And so I use IDW more as a set of values than as a group of people.
So like woke, reactive, new atheist adjacent. And that's why I guess a lot of people would say you're right wing fascist. Boom, we're done. And there's not a lot of space I see online. And the problem is decorum, being nice, trying not to be disruptive. That keeps it from just getting to where the hell it needs to get, which is not giving so much space and humoring nuance arguments that really aren't, when I am definitely caught up to where I think you guys are, not to generalize everyone, but at least Jeff's disposition against the woke left online blob.
Yeah,
how many times
obnoxious.
I'm very.
I mean, how many times should we debate communism?
Is there? I mean, here's a real question though. Is there anybody left today that actually will defend wokeism? Like, I mean, I think even from the left have pretty much abandoned wokeism. I think wokeism is
the majority
dead.
Report. They do.
Most of the Democrats.
Over
and the majority
window shifting and all that.
Is the majority report not dead? I mean, come on.
Like, over 1 million subscribers and growing by the day. And Vosh and Hassan Piker, it is obnoxious enough to still take it seriously. But I understand. I agree that it's diminished and the mainstream has moved on. Black Lives Matter and police suck. I think that's way more important than quibbling over reactive people that call themselves BLM. I think there's still a need to finish the argument that the woke, I don't know, online, I call them indoor cats, like versus tigers. like humans are nasty. Oh my man, my resident, the resident guy that plays for the left. There's a little tension here in this community.
Tim, are you on the left? Do you consider yourself left?
I would, per the ideal, the end that they're seeking, that the status quo is busted, it's corrupt, it's poisoned. And there's a good faith conversation that some people are willing to engage, but the social politics have gotten out ahead of it. So you kind of have to say where you're at per those politics. And that's just, in my opinion, a waste of time. And I'm tired of people being nice. And I just want to get at the religions and the politics that you guys are hinting at to say that's stupid, that's dumb, that doesn't stand up to scrutiny. Now let's move on and get to the ideal worth getting to. I'm just impatient. That's where I'm at. I'm not the best communicator. Maybe I could be. I'm just a ball of impatience that I think the internet created. And
wow, we
would you be impatient without the internet?
Suddenly, this panel suddenly became legendary.
I know this is
a panel of legends right now. Okay, I'm gonna welcome the Machine Lies. We gotta welcome Lib. We gotta welcome JoeCool. We gotta welcome iPhi. We're all here, man. We got.
I heard Vosh's name. Is this gonna be a Vosh hating stream? I'm here for this.
No,
he had his board folder go public. We don't need to.
Oh yeah, no, I don't even. I don't even give a shit. Like honestly, that's like. Of all the drama he's been involved with, like honestly, that's like one of the least bad. He's actually done some weird, kind of creepy shit in the past. That's like you can actually criticize him for. So I don't know why people are freaking out over this.
Wait, what happened? I didn't even get the.
I mean, who are you talking about?
Oh, is there a recent thing?
Oh,
was there a recent thing with
Vosh?
Yes, the porn folder.
If it lets you.
Oh, I don't follow Vosh anymore.
Yeah,
I used to subscribe.
I'm sorry, I missed it. What did he do?
A long time ago, and I
heard the porn
for his videos in my.
Jeff.
Yeah,
Really
so there was he accidentally showed his to be sorted folder, which had some, lewd images in it, and at least one or two of those images, the author, unbeknownst to him, is actually some like weird lolicon. The photos weren't lolicon, but like the author of some of the photos. Lolicon. Yeah,
but the only thing that matters is his porn folder was exposed at a time that he's trying to seem more mainstream progressive. He's going to meet Ro Khanna and these, real serious progressive politicians, and it's like, he's one of these woke wastoids that props himself up as an idealist when he's really just an inconsistent, mess.
That was a good description,
hang on.
Tim. You are very descriptive, Tim. You painted a picture. I feel like I know the guy already.
Genuinely curious. What is he like inconsistent? What is inconsistent with being a progressive and like liking porn?
Well, he started as an anarchist, so an anarchist libertarian, super woke. Like there's so many inconsistencies in his political, no less.
Well, no. You're gesturing at them. I see you gesturing. I'm asking you for specifics. What is?
I mean,
actually,
anti-porn before.
We don't need to go through the whole story arcs of Vosh. We have better things to talk about. Vosh is just one node.
No. I think
Lib just posed a really good question, though. According to the ethics and the ideals of most wokeism, how is porn not
on the table?
Not inconsistent
I'm not
with
wokeism.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, porn. I'm sorry, like, I mean, but unless you want to, unless we're gonna try to, use only grass-fed farm raised porn. That is that
free range porn
is free range porn where everyone
that's better.
Well, that's the thing is
completely cognizant.
Well, that's the thing is that there is no free range porn. Those girls come from fucked up families.
I take no issue with that. I just think it's funny that he's in the public spotlight for that reason.
More legendary. What's up with this? This is like
what
we got Moose.
Is that weed?
Is that rosemary?
Rose?
Is that oregano?
Rosemary.
I can almost smell
Oh
it.
yeah, I got a big bag of oregano. I'll show you.
Yeah, it's rosemary. I was propagating some more.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Okay,
big
so speaking of
I
trolls,
love me some rosemary bread, man. That rosemary
so
bread.
speaking of trolls, Jeff, my only conditions were no moose and no lib, and now you brought both of them in here. So
Bye.
I'm gonna have to leave soon.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah,
when did you tell me those conditions? I would never.
He did say that last time he was on here.
When I said I'll come back to your outliers, but on one
what's
condition.
wrong with Moose though? Like, I mean, I understand.
Yeah,
I
really.
understand your conflict with Lib. Because,
Okay,
like,
Chris. Okay, Chris. Okay, Chris.
I'm just asking.
I'll answer your question.
I'm not being a dick.
I'll answer your question.
Okay.
The last time Moose and I spoke on panel, he brought up his concern that I was being pegged by my wife in my bunker. So,
I mean,
maybe you can ask him why he felt the need to discuss.
Okay, dude, if you can't see the humor in that, though,
yeah, fuck him.
I don't even know what to say.
He said the same thing about me, though.
That's a good joke. I'm sorry. That's a good joke. I mean,
And so now he just said,
you are a blood sports master, dude. Come on, fight back.
So, Chris,
Yeah,
he just said, I said the same thing about him. And so what he doesn't understand is the only reason why I said that was I was trying to show how evil and retarded he is. And so it's not a joke. It's not funny. It's just stupid. It's like,
no, you're right.
Most
you're right,
iPhi. Joke, and you go ad hom, call him evil and retarded. At least this shit was a joke. Your shit was some type.
Right? See, I'm not joking.
No. See, this is the thing. There's no joke. All right. Look, it's okay if you get pegged by your wife. That is. Except
right. So if Moose wants to get
nothing wrong with that.
I don't know what's
or your husband.
It's all good. He just wants me to take it a little more seriously when I say it.
I didn't want to talk about it at all, but you're welcome to convince Chris why you thought it was a productive part of our last conversation. Go ahead.
I mean, I think it's
still
just you describing it is hilarious to me, but not because of you. As you, I just think it's if he had said it to anybody, I think that'd be funny.
Okay, okay, Chris.
I didn't even know you were married.
Funny joke.
It's not because it's appealing against you, iPhi. It's just because I think it's just a funny comment. But at the same time, he doesn't even consider that an insult.
I hurt the man's feelings. I'm sorry.
Obviously, you hurt Robot feelings. Robot going to cry now. Ooh,
well, I mean, I find it weirdly weird that
sad looking bud anyway.
That's what would trigger. I mean, I understand like Lib and you guys, Lib and you would like be like kind of.
I mean, I don't really have a problem. I don't really have a personal problem with iPhi.
Finish hearing Lib and Tim.
Okay, hold on. We'll get to Lib in a minute. I just want to finish your answer. So, Chris.
Sure.
The reason why I said I don't want to talk to Moose anymore is because the last time we had a conversation, that's the nature of his contribution. So I'm not interested in that drama and lameness
we were talking about earlier.
So that's all.
I'm pretty sure you said worse things about me and Jeff. So like,
name one.
I mean, he belongs on the
I don't keep track.
He wants to talk about the drama,
when people insult me, it rolls off my back. It's water off a duck's back. I don't even.
Now,
I don't archive it.
I didn't catch the beginning of the conversation, but from what I heard from when One True Tim was talking, he was just complaining about this useless bullshit that people dramatize in these rooms. They never have any productive or useful conversations.
I think
it's just bullshit. Like you get pegged by your wife and shit like that.
It was like a 3-second joke, and you turn it into like a 20.
I know, but see, you don't understand. Like you're causing people who are interested in these conversations to leave because they think it's just childish bullshit.
I could bring this back to Vosh.
Okay, I don't mind like a single 3-second joke. What I might if all he kept doing was just railing like you get pegged by your wife, you get pegged by your wife. If he kept doing that over and over again, nobody else.
No, dude, Chris. First of all, I think you're overanalyzing it. I was. It was the episode where I was like leaving and I was like, I'm gone. I'm done with all this. You know, I don't want to be a part of it anymore. And so that was just like another example of why I'm not coming back, because I don't want to waste my time with all this childish horseshit.
Well, since you're not coming back, I want to ask you a genuine question. This is
no, I said that's when I said that. I didn't say I'm saying that now. I'm saying that was why I signed off. I was just saying I'm not interested in that.
There's
anymore.
a necessary affect in the public and the internet sphere that
in the same conversation, Chris,
bother you, even though it should. And I hate
in the same conversation, Chris, you and Jeff were accusing me of not answering your questions, which is bald-faced lies, which everyone knows. I always answer everyone's questions.
Hey, I didn't. Which question did I accuse you of not answering?
You and Chris both said iPhi won't answer our questions. Blah 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 blah. You're trying to rail on me about some random bullshit.
Do you know what line of questions?
Just go back.
I do remember after you jumped off the last panel that you jumped off. I do remember the last panel you jumped off.
Tim wanted to bring us
making
back
a
to
joke
Vosh
that
anyway.
dude would not answer any questions.
So
but seriously, but this is an honest question for you, iPhi. I just want to say, how are you feeling? Your voice still sounds a little scratchy. Are you doing all right, man?
It's still laryngitis 1, iPhi 0. I'm still losing, so I'm not going to talk for long.
Okay,
but anyways,
I just sound hoarse. I am concerned.
Yeah. I'm still kickstarting the YouTube stuff, so that's why I asked Jeff if I can restream to YouTube.
Absolutely, anytime, all the time.
Okay, so Chris, I've answered Jeff's question, I've answered Chris' question, I answered Moose's question, and so now the lib concern. Okay, so
now we're gonna hear from Tim.
Hold on. So now to answer Chris's question about lib. So
I think we all know why you don't like me. I think that's
we all know.
Clear and evident.
I wasn't concerned about that one. I already knew why you didn't.
We all know. So one true Tim, if you look in the background of my picture, do you see the meme behind me over here?
Yeah, we see it. We see it. Yeah.
This is why I don't want to talk to Lib anymore, because
it is a funny meme.
Because
I
you
enjoy
people
it's funny.
Keep drumming up this argument over and over and over again for thousands of years. The argument has already been settled. It's completely evil, retarded bullshit. No one cares about communism.
Slight nitpick, which is that communism hasn't been an ideology for thousands of years. So just,
hey, Lib,
for what it's worth.
Hey, Lib, let's give it one more shot, shall we?
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yeah, what's up?
The ideal associated with communism.
Hold on. Tim, you shouldn't even engage with iPhi on this topic. It's not.
Don't engage with Lib.
I want Tim to have a chance to say what he's been trying to say.
I'll be brief. I'm curious. Isn't this tension really a question of human nature, how malleable it is? I mean, isn't it really a problem that people, even if we have the chance and the utility and the surplus and everything we need, as we may have currently, we have everything we need. It's a human nature problem, not a political science problem, right? Isn't that the thing we need to get through before we get?
It's a personal problem that's been made a group problem.
It's not that easy, but it's a little bit of everything that you just said.
Well, it's just fundamental questions of political science come, readily with a ready-made view of human nature. Like Marxism has a view of human nature, and so does capitalism. Do
you think communism will work if we have good and intelligent people, Tim? Yeah. Do you think that's the problem?
Whatever, nerds.
Whatever, nerds.
I haven't seen any of those.
I don't think communism under that name. That's like a brand, like Coca-Cola. It's done. It's poisoned. You can't. It's already got the associated poison attached to it.
And so you can argue about all the psychology of it and stuff like that, and learn from why humans fail. But to keep bringing it up like it's still a valid economy or something like that, that's where it's just garbage at this point. You're not learning as humans.
Let me ask, doesn't that go for all isms? I mean, to bring up capitalism.
No, there's lots of isms that are good. Capitalism is a great policy. Libertarianism is a great policy. Moral conservatarianism is a great policy.
What about collectivism?
Wait. Let's do the capitalism shit. Capitalism, if we go on with our form of capitalism, the vote inherently, you have a two-party system, death. Capitalism itself is competition for who get the most money. Politicians can be bought by the rich. Capitalism has inherent flaws. Yeah.
So for what it's worth,
they're not inherent flaws. You're giving an example of a system that has failed
Yes,
capitalism.
I took ours. Yes.
And so if you enforce capitalism, which is the private ownership of land and resources and the voluntary exchange of goods and services, there is no better system than capitalism.
Well, the main thing about these ideologies is that they don't fit perfectly with what goes on in the world. Capitalism is a theory, communism is a theory. They actually don't work in the real world. You know, like
they definitely work in the real world. That's the only place where
capitalism
profit
doesn't
comes
work.
from.
You said I gave an
work in the real
example
world.
of where it doesn't.
I didn't. I said he gave an example of one that has failed. I wouldn't use America as the standard of capitalism. That's not the good example.
What's the example of a capitalist country?
Switzerland, Ireland, Singapore.
Switzerland and Ireland, where they have international trade. They have all the public school system. They have all of these problems.
They have the freest economies in the world.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah, but you were saying
they have the freest economy, but it's not capitalism.
I can give you the best communist.
There's no such thing as pure capitalism, machine.
That's what I just said in the beginning, though.
Yeah.
No one here is arguing laissez-faire capitalism. No one.
I am arguing.
Of course, like I said, it doesn't exist.
Listen, what I was arguing is that capitalism, you could bring good and bad from it, and I assume communism would have good and bad.
The two debates are between socialism and capitalism. Not communism's a red herring. But anyways,
okay, all right.
So JoeCool, ask yourself this question: which system is more corruptible and more full of evil, socialism or capitalism?
Capital.
yeah. I mean,
sorry, I can go on, but
go ahead. Go on.
Ideal.
Use real world examples in history.
What's the ideal? Where's the incentive? If the incentive, I personally believe that human nature will be driven, not predicated, but driven per the incentive.
Yeah.
Whether we consciously know what that incentive is or not, what's the
incentive for socialism?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What is the incentive for socialism?
So the unit of value would be the social well-being. You could, I'd rather use humanist rather than socialist, because
I'll go with that. What would be for capitalism? What would be the incentive for capitalism?
I mean, like Stalin.
Wait,
I
want Tim to answer.
Why is Spider-Man #1 worth as much as it is?
Wait, Tim. Well, let me assume, and you tell me, is capitalism, their motivation would be money? Yeah, capital.
Profit.
Well, money is one form of capital.
So if you ask me which two are inherently evil, anything that chases money, that's already off on the wrong foot.
You don't have to
actually, my question is, which system is more corruptible?
The one that has capital as the incentive, not the well-being of humans. The problem is the well-being of humans as the ideal is not something that human nature is driven towards, even if you remove the incentives of private property and capital. Marxist theory tries to play on that if you realign the incentives, then the human will fully realize into this evolved and higher form of, and that is not, humans are horny and violent, end of story. Capitalism antagonizes it, but does not create that condition.
Okay, the end of story is just trust me. I prefer arguments rather than end of story. That's just how it is. Yeah.
Hey, JoeCool, what if I told you we don't even have to debate this because there is no debate between capitalism and socialism?
And why not?
So if you look behind me here, these are lists of countries ranked according to their economic freedom. So that means
question iPhi, where is this source?
I'm trying to talk.
No, I'm asking you to link your source, please.
Oh, okay. Here, let me drag it down in the view so you can see it. So it's
country rank
2023 Economic Index of Freedom. Okay.
Yeah. Just Google heritage.org economic.
Wait, it's a Heritage Foundation?
Heritage Foundation.
Yeah. I know. Data doesn't count as evidence.
No,
it's. I know. The communists have better data.
Heritage's ideal is not true.
Specifically, the Heritage Foundation.
You're right. You should always ask communists, which countries are more free. You're right.
Well, that's a culture war then.
Well,
it's
a
I'm going to send
a bias
shirt
source
that says never been pegged on it.
So
That's a lame shirt.
Yeah, I like to hear iPhi's bullet points.
Okay, so Joe, these are currently countries that we live in right now. This isn't history. This isn't theory. This isn't like a scenario. This is actually happening right now as we're speaking. So the countries
read them all for me. I'm really high.
I'll just give you some examples. Okay. So the countries at the top are places like Singapore, Switzerland, Ireland, Taiwan, New Zealand, Estonia, Luxembourg, Netherlands.
Those are the
Denmark.
countries he named. That I think Tim just named or somebody.
Okay, so these countries are the most capitalist countries in the world. So now you can ask yourself, is their quality of life better? Are there more freedoms in this country? Is this a place where you want to live? Is this the kind of government you want to live under? Now, the opposing team is called socialism.
Okay.
So socialists are countries like North Korea, Cuba, Venezuela, Sudan,
Sweden, Denmark,
Zimbabwe,
Norway,
Iran, Algeria, Bolivia, Lebanon. All countries like that are very socialist countries.
Well, yeah, I
take issue with the Heritage Foundation as
this
like
is why communists don't ever want to argue about it, because you can give them real world data that we're not debating this. I'm not saying I feel like these countries are corrupt. I'm saying
no, but you're saying you feel like they're communist or socialist.
But see, iPhi, hold on.
Compare them to capitalist countries.
All right, go ahead and yield.
Which one you like better?
Hey, buddy, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
I'm still talking to Joe. I'm trying to finish the point.
No, yield. I'm with you. I think I got your argument.
Okay, Joe.
Very fucking good. No, let someone else in. We can't monopolize shit, right?
I can't finish my thought.
I mean,
okay,
we'll
someone else talk now.
Shit, dude. The thing is that you brought a source, but the source is from a conservative think tank. So you don't find that has any bearing on the type of information you presented.
I think that's the type of stat that would go the same across anybody, anywhere you look. That stat
machine
would not
lies.
change.
Name a better source.
One that's not specifically dedicated to anti-communism.
That's what they do. Still, that is
like it can't be that cartoonishly biased, dude. Like, it's fucking retarded.
Well, I don't know the
if you want to go to Cato Institute, you can go use their chart.
Cato is a better source. I can vouch for Cato. They're still biased towards certain cultural outcome, not a data-driven impetus. They're
by the way,
by an outcome, not data.
Cato is better than Heritage Foundation.
But it is better.
By the way,
as a crazy
a lot of the same people.
iPhi, can you throw that link in the back so I could?
They had a schism back around.
Yeah, I can as well. I've got it up.
Hold on.
Okay.
But there are tons of metrics we can use to establish the same like living standard problems.
Yeah.
And I think iPhi, is that how you?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, iPhi, I agree with the distaste for like quibbling over bad outcomes. It's like you can see bad outcomes in many other countries, places, and times.
Okay.
But drawing this Western society line where it's like capitalism, when it should be Western culture that has informed those outcomes, is like correlation, not causation. I don't know the right fallacy, but you're like reducing a lot of complexity down to what the culture war represents. It's a false binary.
No, dude, all I'm doing is talking about economy. That's all I'm talking about right now is capitalism versus socialism.
You said North Korea was a socialist country, and that's not a socialist country.
They are not objectively a socialist country. No one's debating whether or not North Korea is a capitalist country.
It's not a socialist country, but you don't. I mean, we could go to Wikipedia and we can start to educate ourselves. Each country, what they're
not capitalist either.
Learn what capitalism is and socialism is, and then we'll debate it. I'm not going to sit here and.
But socialism is not communism.
Guess what words mean?
They're not all the same thing. Is my point. It's like saying chocolate and vanilla are the same thing because they're ice cream. It's not the same thing. Go ahead.
Are you still with us, Machine? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see these words behind me right now?
Not really. I mean, I gotta really put my face up to the computer.
Jeff, can you make me full screen for a second?
Rule of law, government ties.
Economic freedoms matter now more than
that's just the genome.
Okay, Machine, which part of this is anti-communism in their bias? Please explain to me how they are biased against communists by their methodology.
Because law is separated by spirit and letter, and they're reducing it to one thing as if people are lawless or lawful. That's an oversimplification.
How is having property rights and whether you have them or not pro or con communism?
You don't believe that a think tank that's specifically dedicated and funded by certain people is going to produce these measurements and information in a highly specified
Provide
way.
a better source. Do you want to go to Cato and see which ones they think is more socialist and more capitalist?
If you think that that's a better source, I think Cato's funded by the same fucking people that these fucknuts is funded.
See, there's no winning with you, Machine. I just gave you a better source according to everyone else on the panel. You still said that's not good enough.
I mean, for what it's worth.
You gave a source that's admittedly biased to your own position.
Oh, okay, let's go to Cato.
Let's go to Cato. For what it's worth, while I do think
one
Cato
source
is a better
conservative think tank.
Yeah, so Cato is a better source than the Heritage Foundation, but that's kind of like saying that, like, getting your leg broken is better than having all of your limbs eviscerated.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, it is better, but I wouldn't say it's good. I mean, the UN probably has.
Yeah, the
UN probably has. I would go with the UN more than like the Heritage Foundation or something.
Here's a normative one. We don't have to be super hard, data driven for. Adam Smith, right? Pretty big, like, free market capitalism guy. Probably the guy who made up the deal capitalism. Actually, Marx coined the term capitalism.
Yeah, Marx.
So, there is that. But the point I want to make here, if I can get my brain back on it, is Adam Smith said something to this effect, that without an ethical framework, without, I'm going to assume, ethical citizens, which is what a republic is run by, us informed citizens, without an ethical framework serving as the basis for a capitalist economy, it's completely worthless. It's worse than worthless. It's poisoned. It's corrupt. And the imbalance of power is what we see now, that we would need to go through American history and look at, say, the New Deal and see why there was trust busting to keep the economy more free. But that's so far out because you have institutions like the Heritage Foundation that are skewing the data and reducing complexity. So people think that we're under Ronald Reagan and we need to be like, it's the Reds coming over the hill. It's the commies that want to undermine God. It's equivocation and conflation at best.
Gaslighting is a very common tactic with socialists.
Well, I remember
they never want to talk about definitions of terms or anything like that. They just want to say anything that you define objectively is crazy because you're anti-communist. So you can't think rationally or clearly, even though I showed you their methodology.
I am anti-communism. Okay, let's just get that straight. I am for capitalism if the capital is regulated per an informed citizenry, and it is not.
For example, the Heritage Foundation opted for mass surveillance during the war on terror in the Bush administration. Even pointed out that that the President Abraham Lincoln suspended habeas corpus. So when they're fined for communist procedures like mass surveillance, they're just a neoconservative think tank. They're not communist or capitalist. They're just bringing forth policy.
Conservative.
Yeah, I mean, it's a garbage. It's a garbage institution. That's all it is.
Provide a better
garbage
source.
Institution that's funded by Zionists and all these types of people. It is what it is.
Provide a better source.
You only provided one bullshit source. Why should I have
provided two sources?
With your game.
My second source.
Yeah, but I don't have to prove anything to you.
Not the one making the claim, dude.
I know exactly. You made a claim and you failed to prove it.
You're right. I claim that this has already been analyzed and studied by actual economic experts, and
but they're not actual
internet people
experts.
who think they're the experts.
Well, they're not necessarily. They are potentially heavily biased economic experts.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now provide your unbiased experts. That's a better source.
Such thing. There's no
I don't have
to.
First off, there's no such thing, but also, like, I mean, they're
no
definitely
shit, Lib. And now you see how fallacious that this complaint is. You keep making it sound like, oh, iPhi just keeps pushing all this biased information, but he won't report the unbiased sources.
It doesn't mean that, like, the necessarily most biased source you can find is valid
Everyone
just
has
because
the same
everyone has a
access
bias.
to the internet that I have. So
I'm
feel
aware.
free to Google your fucking source and put it on the
Okay.
screen.
Here I have the United Nations Association Coventry Branch.
Go ahead.
The Human
Put up the
Freedom,
listing.
the
Go
Human
ahead,
Freedom
Lib.
Index.
Put it
Go
up.
ahead.
It only
Where
took
you
him three.
find,
It only
Lib?
took him 2 minutes to do that shit. See what I mean?
Okay,
you asked
well,
for,
let's
you
see
asked
which
for it, you
ones are
got it. You asked
It's
for it, you
not-
got it.
It's not just economic related, but it
We're
does.
only
encompass
talking
personal,
about
civil, and
economics, Lib. See, this is the problem, Tim.
Well, can
Because
we
every time
let
you try
Lib
to talk
speak
about
before
a
you?
topic, they always got to conflate
All
a
right.
different topic with it.
Yes,
They'll
I
start
know.
introducing
This is kind of
the
how
size
iPhi
and power
functions.
of government, which is not the economy.
All right.
The
Let's
size
let
and
Lib
power
sign
of
up.
government is the debate between authoritarians and libertarians. That's a whole different topic.
No, and
Lib,
that's why I'm
what do
probably
you think
in
you
spirit
found?
more on your side,
What-
iPhi,
what-
because without that
That's a little
citizen
black and
reading,
white.
there is no system that will save us from ourselves.
So
And there is
Tim,
absent an informed
iPhi,
citizen.
can you let
so
me
Tim,
talk,
if I
please?
wanted to have a serious conversation with you
Joe, wait.
about the
Before
problem
you have a
with
serious come, I'm gonna be a dick, Joe. I swear to God, we'll wreck
Hold
this
on,
whole
Joe. I'm
fucking.
trying
No,
to
I'm
talk to
not
Tim.
gonna hold on.
What's going on?
Because I don't
Okay.
want to just hear your fucking point of view. Please let other motherfuckers. I'm sorry.
I'm talking to Tim, dude. I don't know what you're freaking
I
out
know,
about.
but you're interrupting Lib, and Lib was going to give his counter argument.
Because
to yours.
Lib
You didn't
wants to
like
keep
it, and you
derailing
cut
the
it off.
conversation. That's
Well,
why I don't
yes,
talk to
well,
Lib anymore.
All right, please.
So
I'd
Tim,
like to hear both sides. Just
But I don't
You
see
don't
it
talk
that
to
You'll
way.
Lib
have to
Not
share a
anymore.
panel together.
He
Unless
took
one
his
of you
ball
wants
and
to
went
leave.
home.
I
So
think I'm
Tim-
hearing both you, Lib, and iPhi, and Joe, and I think I'm hearing everyone pretty clearly. And what
except
I'm
for
hearing
me,
is
because I
we're.
can't finish my thought.
But
So
I
Tim,
think I'm trying. Let me try to steel man your position here. You're saying that you need another source to counter what
No.
you are presenting. That it should, by all intents and purposes, be seen as at least a legitimate case made.
No.
And to tear that one down, you want a different one. But the problem is, good data does not draw conclusions for us. And the main point I want to make is, I don't think we're all on different pages. I think we're probably, when it comes down
we're
to
definitely
it,
on different pages. That's part of the problem.
but that's where I disagree. I think that we're not as far off as you might think.
Oh, we're not even in the same ballpark. Lib and I are not even on the same planet. So that's why I don't.
But Lib was going to use what is it, the Human Freedom Index, and that doesn't make a case for communism. That's just giving you a different source for your data to make the same argument, and it's probably a little more reliable. So he wasn't even arguing with you. He was trying to give you the same information, or to show you where Heritage was drawing their information from. I think
no, he
online
wasn't. He was trying to make
discourse-
it sound like Heritage is biased, so you can't use it as a source.
But they
and he has
are
a better
biased.
source.
They have been biased for a long time. They are a think tank that is funded
And
by
I asked him
Southwest.
to provide a better unbiased source, which both of them can't answer. So see, you just keep pretending like we're having separate conversations or something. They're in the same
like
room.
you know
they
what
hear the
Lib
same
was
words.
about to
You're
do.
not acknowledging them. You're just
You guys are
pretending
saying
like
what
they're not
Lib
saying
was
it.
gonna do. Lib was about to do this. What Lib was about to do. Had you let him
But
do it, I'd have
he
my
did
own
ask for
opinion on
other
what Lib
sources.
did.
So if there are better sources, I've asked myself as well.
But Lib provided them, is what I'm saying. He was doing what was asked.
He got out 2 words and got cut off, though. Yeah.
I was actually also going to give the Cato Institute posted a Human Freedom Index as well. It's the Cato Institute and the Fraser Institute, which is a similar. They have conservative leanings, but they are broadly more reputable than the Heritage Foundation. Their biases show a lot less in a lot of their data.
Okay,
what conclusions did you come to when you looked at UN and you looked at what is your opinion?
So the UN, the United Nations Association Coventry Branch, posted this Human Freedom Index in 2019. The data is from 2016 because that's the most recent year for which sufficient data is available to allocate an HFI, is what it's called.
Okay.
HFI, basically, it's a measure that encompasses personal, civil, and economic freedom. It's to be a little more specific, human freedom is a social concept that recognizes the dignity of individuals and is defined here as negative liberty or the absence of coercive constraint.
But they don't classify it as socialist, capitalist, etc., like that other one did.
Well, yeah, no, that's actually why I prefer it, because it's talking about it without using sort of that, or sort of ideological bent. It is literally just talking
draw the
about
conclusion for you.
It is literally just saying, hey, here's all of these measures, and we're looking at all of these countries sort of in comparison with each other.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, on the HFI that the United Nations Association put out, the number one ranked HFI country in 2016 was New Zealand, followed by Switzerland, and then Hong Kong, though they do mention that Hong Kong should be listed separately because now it's a part of China, so there's a whole different things. But then next is like Australia, Canada, Denmark, Netherlands, and then like obviously at the very bottom you have, you know, countries like Libya, Iraq, Yemen, Venezuela, Syria.
So even their list was like iPhi's list, it seems.
Yeah, no shit. That's what I just said.
Give or take.
That's what I just said.
I mean, for instance, things
you
like
see what
Ireland.
I'm talking about, Joe? See
I
how
know,
long
which
it
is
took
why
you
I wanted to let them
point
speak,
that out?
no matter. Which is why I want to let them speak, no matter what you came up with. I assume the same countries.
Do you see how much time we wasted?
Yeah.
For you to point that out, Joe. Do you see that?
Well,
you see how long it took you?
No, I think it had to be done. I can't play psychic.
The important distinction, I think, is that things like the HFI, things like even the Cato Institute, the way they do theirs is like they don't break it down by like, oh, is this country fucking communist or capitalist or whatever. They do like break it down and be like, hey, look, here's all these countries and all of their scores are sort of like in relation to each other, rather than by trying to like
one more time.
Wait, let's go back.
The debate
to
is
iPhi's
between
argument.
Socialism and capitalism.
Let's go back
Communism
to that
is a red herring.
The argument on the table was that socialism is inherently worse, going to have worse results
inherently more
than
corruptible.
capitalism. Now, after seeing what we've saw, a fucking iPhi has an argument. Yeah.
Yes, Joe. Yes. Thank you.
I don't hear how that amounts to an argument, though. I don't hear how that makes a case for capitalism. Because many of the economies that are technically capitalist are mixed economies, and they value the social welfare as the highest form of good. They might not actually serve that.
I was about to say, actually, in particular, New Zealand, places like New Zealand, Australia, Canada, Denmark, Netherlands.
Good fucking point, too.
Which are like some of those like top 10. Finland and Norway are number 10. And those are some of like, those are like, a lot of people call them like socialism light. They're not really. They're just
healthcare and taking care of everything.
Yeah, literally, they just have like good social welfare programs.
I'll tell you why it's a moot problem. Okay, the reason why it's a moot problem is because large scale technologies are inherently A, socializing, B, they create central government control, and C, you know, and C, they engender international trade. You know, so they engender a type of international socialism, a type of corporate socialism. I mean, so the thing with large
shit, but sounds true.
So the thing with large scale technologies is that they create socialism on in terms of the state, and they create you know, monopolies, you know, as well.
They create welfare states, which I do think is distinct from socialism. You don't have to have socialism to have like a welfare state or even like social welfare programs. Though I do agree that to have like a socialist economy or country or whatever would have a relatively large welfare state, social safety net, however you want to put it, by necessity, because like that's the point of
what I'm talking about. You know, you get electricity and power. A certain percentage of it comes from nuclear power, right? There's no way the citizens can control nuclear power.
I mean, not even just nuclear power, but like things like even just like generic like coal
internet.
generation.
They can't control the internet either. You know,
I mean, you're saying, Laz, that's a good point on the floor, right? The bigger you get, are these things even tenable anymore? When your population gets so big and you have to bring in these big corporate structures and shit, does your capitalism and so socialist systems now become moot, as he started?
Yeah. And for what it's worth, if you want to actually take a great example of what happens when you, for instance, capitalism your power grid, just take a look at Texas. Texas has almost completely privatized their power grid, and like anytime there's just any amount of stress on their power grid, it just fucking fails. And there have been A lot of people who've talked about, so a lot of economists who've talked about part of the reasons as to why, and a large portion of it is because they have their power grid is privatized, and as such, the incentives for these private companies are vastly different than if they were, run by the government, which would have
a good point. Anything that the government privatize and let's take over, it goes as a prison system, whatever it is, it seems to go fucking haywire. It certainly is about making profit, and the person dies, which is the reason you created government, was to help that person. Now profit becomes a motive. Capitalism now has a strike against it.
And if you want to look at historical examples as well, fire departments in a lot of places in the United States.
iPhi.
No. Let him finish. I don't want to interrupt.
Fire departments used to be there used to be in the United States privatized fire departments. Actually, in Europe, they were largely privatized, and that led to a lot of really devastating fires in both the United States and in Europe, where private companies would just let fires rage, and because there wasn't a public fire department,
you didn't have enough money or whatever.
There are certain things that are better handled collectively.
All right.
Okay, Tim, now you ready for me to finish my point? Okay. And I'll come back to you in a second, Joe, because I'm not done with you.
No, we're good. Go.
No, I'm not done with you yet. I'll comment to you in a second. I just got to get my thought done with Tim first.
Come on.
All right, Tim. So earlier when I was trying to make a very simple point but got derailed by communist propaganda bullshit,
That's not snappy.
was the reason why you don't want to conflate topics like economies and the size and power of government, because those are two very complicated topics that should be separate. So I only wanted to talk to you about the difference in economies. The debate is between capitalism and socialism. I showed you why we don't even have to debate it. We already know what happens when countries go socialist and when countries go capitalist. I'm not saying there is such a thing as a pure example of either case. There's no pure socialist country. There's no pure capitalist country. There are countries that are more capitalist, and there are countries that are more socialist, and they're clearly listed on either source that these fucking retards can't understand are the same fucking list after they sit there and bitched about how my source is so biased and, oh, I'm just using biased propaganda, blah, 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 blah. Fuck them. Anyways, it's the same list.
Is there a point at the end of this?
I'm talking to Tim, so if you got a problem with the point I'm making with Tim, you can just wait.
You're talking to Tim, but you just said that everybody here bitched about your source.
Yeah, I can take two people in particular. I'm sure that includes Machine. I'm sure that people bitching about my biased sources, not providing.
I'll tell you right now, and I'll tell you right now that you've hand waved one of the most important problems. You've hand waved it away.
What was that?
That's the centralizing feature of a socialist economy and the size of the state. You just said it's just that there's no.
No, I didn't. I specifically said to separate those topics.
There clearly lies in my head. I still got them joined at the hip too.
I specifically said do not conflate the two, because then that makes it sound like you're talking about the same thing.
Why not conflate the two when it's a central
problem? We will, Machine. I'll get to that in a second.
I think that's why we're on the same page, because no one here. I don't know. Maybe Lib. I mean, it would be a good faith question to ask Lib.
Hold on,
do you trust? You have to have an element of distrust for any central power, even if it's needed.
Oh, yeah.
I will address your point when I comment back to Joe when I'm done talking to Tim about my original point.
But we're all kind of anti-authoritarian, is I think the same page, right? We're kind of
no. Listen.
You can't.
Economy is one topic.
This is also a conversation with multiple people. You can't just lead the conversation wherever.
I said I will address your point when I'm finished talking to Tim with my original point.
Address it. I'll cut in and address whatever the fuck I want.
Okay, you can interject and interrupt. Talk over all you want. That's fine.
Like, what a weird way. You'll wait till I'm done addressing somebody else's point. Yeah, but
no, that's all right. I'll wait till you start talking, Machine. Then I'll just talk over you and be.
No. Talking to Tim, so I want to give at least Tim a chance to respond.
No, for sure. No, I'm just saying, but yeah.
So Tim, if I wanted to have a serious conversation
for
with
Tim
you
to
about
respond to you, not for you to keep talking.
Economy, I would say we're going to talk about the debate between capitalism and socialism. And then you bring up the point that, well, what about authoritarians versus libertarians? And I say, yes, that's very important concept.
No verses in that equation. I think that's the one unifying function here politically that we have in common. That we don't want to trust power because it's a coercive element.
I'm talking about the two different topics, dude. I'm just saying don't combine the two different topics. But
I take issue, although I am not a communist, and I do think it's foolhardy for the modern zeitgeist. I'm sorry, I don't have a better word. It's what it is. It's like trendy to be like, well, what about communism? Isn't it better? Like people traipse along that, they put the rose tinted glasses on and then they point at other people for being fascist, and it's a big freaking mess. But anyone with half a brain is going to be skeptical of central power because they just take more and more and more. So there is no versus. There's no authoritarian versus libertarian because who is going to enforce the liberties? The Constitution is a compromise. It's a balance. And that political theory was already visited, and there's a lot of history that's worth attending.
Okay, Tim, I understand what you're saying. I'm sorry that you're unable to separate the two debates. I understand that you want to combine them.
I can separate them. I'm saying it's of no value.
You just said there is
worth seeking.
You just said there is no debate between authoritarianism and libertarianism.
No. I didn't say there is no debate. I didn't say there's no way to make a debate or put it on a binary.
He's saying they all end up in with the power controlling at the end. I think
I'm saying those are two different
all
topics.
Reasonably skeptical of government overreach, of authoritarianism. But this is complicated political theory, and it's not reducible the way you want to reduce it, even though I can appreciate why and how you are doing that.
So I'm sorry I was unable to convince you that we should separate the topics and debate those first, and then see what happens when we combine them and how complicated that gets. I failed.
I agree with that.
Okay, Joe. So now to comment to respond to your comment earlier. I understand why you think they go hand in hand. So when we're talking about,
socialism and capitalism,
or
are we talking?
So, for example, you talked about
economy
the corrupt form of capitalism.
Yeah,
I like to call it cronyism, because cronyism is when capitalism and authoritarian governments get together and start cheating and bending the rules and create monopolies and shit and fucking up the economy.
Yes.
That's a way you can break capitalism. I agree with you. I'm not saying that's a problem with capitalism. I'm saying the problem is the authoritarian government intervening into the economy.
Okay.
So that's why I said don't confuse the two. Those are two different topics.
Let's go back to what happens without so much authoritarian pre-monopoly laws and shit like that.
That's why.
Wait.
Go ahead.
With more of a capitalist system, we had the barons, right? The oil barons, the railroad barons, right? And they got so bold that they would kill workers if they striked. They hire motherfuckers, right? The Pinkertons, or I don't know who the fuck got started, just beating up motherfuckers. They took over all the small businesses. They took over, and the people had to live under their authoritarian rule.
Okay, so first of all, again, you're kind of skipping over the fact that we're trying to debate whether or not a libertarian government is better than an authoritarian.
I don't know what libertarian. I can't speak intelligence on libertarian. I've never looked. So I don't even know what their values, philosophies, and beliefs.
Libertarians want small government, Joe. We don't want big federal governments.
That could work.
We don't want big state powers. We don't want the government seizing the means of production. We don't want them regulating our businesses. We don't want the government to own property, to own the factories, to own the businesses.
Government cannot own a thing. It's not even
or steal your profit. That's what we don't want. That's what libertarians want. The freedom from all this bullshit.
It had disconnected you. I didn't realize you were.
So JoeCool. By the way, as far as which economies kill the most people, do you want to know which economies kill the most people? Is it socialists or capitalists? Because again, we already have the historical data on that. We don't have to debate it anymore.
As long as you're not using the Black Book of Communism as your source, love to see it.
I use Google, so you're welcome to use any source you want.
So what you're saying is you definitely use the Black Book of Communism, but you just don't want to take responsibility.
I use historical facts that can easily be found by Google. If you want to know how many people have died as a result of your particular
as long
ideology.
as I know the source,
I mean,
Google.
no,
I have
Central Command is not my ideology, iPhi. So
JoeCool, next time you're on Google, just Google the words "deaths by communism" if you want to keep arguing with Lib about socialism.
You know Google lies, right?
Yeah.
Of course,
I know,
everybody.
It's all biased data. We already been through this. Okay.
No. It literally censors. Literally censors like depending on which country you live in. Like if you live in China, it'll tell you different shit about communism.
See, that's another great point for socialism.
But if
they don't even allow factual data to be freely spoken, they censor it
authoritarian, not
because they don't want you to know how many people they actually kill.
That happens here too.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, well then go find China sources on how many Americans have killed people with capitalism and post that source. So feel free to debate it all you want. Like I said, some people already know what's going on here. We don't have to sit here and debate it anymore. We understand what's happening.
This is what I would assume. I would assume.
No, I think actually we do have to debate it because when people say death by communism, it is important to note what you mean by like deaths by communism. Like, do you mean like, oh, there was a famine and that's as a result of communism?
Like when the government seizes the means of production and the people start starving to death, and then they complain to the government, and the government disappears those people for complaining to the government.
That's not a quantitative. That's not a qualitative.
Like
thing
cultural revolutions, Lib. Like gulags, Lib. Like real shit that happened in history that we all know about that you deny and pretend like never happened.
What
that kind of shit?
If I may address this, because this is absolutely
address it to someone who's dumb enough and
not
young enough to listen
to things that I have said. So first off, I'm not a supporter of the Soviet Union or Communist China or the CCP or whatever. The Holodomor happened. The Cultural Revolution was an abject horror. I don't know where you're getting that I defend these things other than like from your own brain, which I can't control what's in your brain, but I can say that like you didn't get that from me. You got that from your own brain and imposed that on me.
Hey, JoeCool, can you help me out here, man? I'm having trouble.
Yeah, how do you get out of this one?
Go ahead.
Can you see Lib's icon?
Right, and welcome, Jesse, by the way.
Hey, welcome. And the only thing that I've been listening for a bit, and I wanted to say is, have we ever had a true laissez-faire free market capitalism? Have we ever had a true socialism that hasn't been controlled by the back end by the 6,000-year-old death cult? So whether these systems are in place, there's always been the hidden hand pulling the strings. So we've never had a real representation of either of them.
Best point.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So JoeCool, can you read the words under Lib? Like, what does his tag say? I can't read it.
It's you stupid. Yo, it says copy.
Yeah. So he said it's in my head. See, he said he can't control what's in my head.
No. You said wait. Hang on. It is important to note.
You see how retarded these people are, Joe?
No.
This is why I don't.
So iPhi, I just want to make sure that you understand that the word commie is not the phrase "I support the Holodomor and
words
the Cultural
don't
Revolution."
Mean what they mean.
Yeah, words don't have
meanings. He changes the definition of all the words.
That's not a changing of the definition.
Wonderland.
No, that's not a Jeff. Come on, now you know that what iPhi is doing is disingenuous.
Oh my God! How many streams have we argued about the definition of common words?
Words don't have
it's not the definition of common words. Oh my God!
And Lib has said, "Oh well, that's not the definition I use." And
that's not what this conversation's even about, Jeff. This conversation is about iPhi.
When it comes to UN words, there are certain patterns.
I'm aware, but there's a difference between what you're talking about and iPhi saying I support the Holodomor. Let's be clear, a genocide.
Anyway, go ahead. Clarify your words.
it's not a clarification. It's iPhi literally just thinking in his brain that I support fucking the Holodomor or something.
Yeah, isn't iPhi
when I
just
very
talking about
clearly
Soviet
don't?
stuff, not communist stuff? Soviet, there's a big difference. It's not a semantic.
Well, the Soviets
like,
did claim to be
nuance.
communist, and arguably they were early on.
They weren't real.
It wasn't until
comrade.
it wasn't. It is important to remember that like
That's like blaming
Stalinism,
the heavy metal kids that kill a cat. That's like blaming Ozzy Osbourne for those kids. That's,
no,
this is not Provo's show, so you are welcome to come up.
It is different because so like the early Soviet Union was actually different than what we can talk about like Stalinism. So basically the early Soviet Union was at least making an attempt to be communist. They had like attempts at like democracy. However, all of those attempts basically immediately collapsed once Lenin died.
but that's
and Stalin
not towards communism. That's still towards Soviet history.
Yeah,
and
no,
the
I agree.
Cold
I just,
War mind.
I think it's
talk
important
about political
that, like,
theories. Then I think it is of the utmost importance to draw the distinction between, like, words and actualities.
Okay.
And
well,
how
that's
this communist versus
inconvenient
capitalist thing is just a bad model. I don't think it's functional. I don't think it's delusional to reject that. I don't think it's like,
I mean,
oh,
no, I don't
well,
think it's
I'm a commie.
delusional. I think it's
See
important.
your
I just
mail,
think
somebody's passing you a note.
All right.
She already got the words on her own.
Well, I was addressing iPhi with that, really.
Why ask me for my opinion now?
Is this
You already
deja
talked about
vu
it.
here?
You talked about it on your own. It's fine.
But look, let me say one more thing, and I'm gonna be quiet for a good while. It's still a human nature problem. We could talk about JoeCool said something about before there were monopolies. There was never before. I think it was a Jesse. He said this something about a death cult, 6,000 years of a death cult. There have always been the powers that be that have the capital, whether we have an ism or a laissez-faire or whatever to describe what they own anyways. And what we get to think downstream of that. The American Revolution was actually revolutionary, and the political ideology that acts as a foundation for our country addresses the evidence that we have to demonstrate human nature as it's actually been. Forget the semantics. That's what America was built on.
Is the Constitution a good thing?
Hell yeah. It's a compromise, sure, but it is a compromise that works towards an ideal. And you can look at Jefferson and Hamilton in the Federalist Papers to see what the real problem is. It's not communism and capitalism that are at odds. It's the collective versus the independent. It's the agrarian citizen farmer versus the power of the government to allow for things like insurance and cheaper housing. It's a utility.
Let's check this out. The Constitution, doesn't it mean that now everyone has to follow a different? There's no room for a guy who wants to be free once that Constitution was written, right? The guy who wants to travel and go to fucking Chicago and see his people, now he's under some type of authoritarian rule. Any shot he had at freely traveling without motherfuckers putting words and verbs and shit on him and charging him money is gone. It's the Constitution written.
The Fourth Amendment protects him from those infringements. So the Constitution or the Bill of Rights should help prevent that, not enable it.
Let's see. Let's be honest. There is no protections, right? No rights protected. Free speech. They've come up with end rounds for everything, right? The second, the right to carry a gun. You don't really have that. Free speech. You don't have that. It's where they say public property. Those things are just illusions that they put in our fucking head. I want to be able to go see the pyramids. How many tyrannical versions of government are going to keep me from doing that shit?
That's because the Constitution became a living law. So they keep on updating it to take away people's rights. It's not set in stone anymore. They just keep updating and updating and updating it, taking away everyone's rights and freedom.
You talking about Canada or here in the U.S.?
I was talking about the U.S.
It's also worth noting that many of the original founders of and like the writers of the founding documents actually wanted the Constitution to be amended like pretty significantly every like decade or so. Whatever. Thomas Jefferson was one of the people. He thought that like the Constitution would have to be almost completely rewritten every like 2 decades or something like that.
Yeah.
By an informed citizenry. a republic that works towards the ideal of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. I'm not saying it's perfect or anything like that, but I am saying it addressed the underlying problems that we have with human nature and the human tendency to collect and abuse power, the coercive, as Marxist theory would call it, the coercive elements. It anticipates those. Now, in practice currently, is it achieving that idea?
Not
ideal? No, it is not. And you mentioned prisons and all that stuff, for-profit prisons.
I would argue this, that it set the stage for all those things to become possible. And I'm a smart cat and I'm an optimist. If I were going to start my shit, there's an argument on the other side. I am a fan of the Constitution. I think my shit would look a lot like it if I was going to start some type of society. But there is a good argument that things that were obvious now, when you write down these things are to be protected, you open the door for every evil fuck that says only these things are protected. You've opened the door to take away more rights than you ever could protect, and you suck at protecting the ones you named.
Also, it's also worth noting, I know it's come up a couple times in this conversation, but in some previous conversations, we've actually done some deep diving on like prison and private prisons in America, and private prisons actually make up a statistically very small proportion of like our prison system. Not to say that it's not fucked up that we have private prisons, like that's not to say that, but the actual effect they have on our prison system is actually relatively minimal, even if we want to argue that the effect they have is negative. That negative effect is actually relatively minimal. The bigger issue
don't have a big footprint in it.
The bigger issue is actually with state. The bigger issue is with state prison.
Yeah, there's a private prison in Texas that were suing the government because they didn't have enough inmates in them. They said you're not providing us enough people, and that's fucked up.
Yeah, no. That's not to say that private prisons aren't fucked up. Just to say that they're not like this. It's not like half of our prison population is in private prisons. It's a very small percentage, but like that small percentage isn't like, it's not good. We probably shouldn't have them. Arguably, a bigger issue is like our state prisons, because state prisons actually have a lot more sort of leeway with what they're doing. That's where a lot of like the like really messed up stuff.
Can I ask a question? And this will bring iPhi back into it. Someone said that the only way capitalism works, I think they were quoting Marx or somebody, is if it starts off with the good moral shit like that, a foundation in morality and helping other motherfuckers. Is that it?
You are correct, sir. 100% correct. So that's why you always hear me talking about the whole package deal. You have to have a moral foundation for a libertarian government to protect a capitalist economy. It's called conservatarianism, and I'm the emperor.
Welcome and we all get a trailer in the woods.
And except for me. I get a helicopter ride.
And we will shoot Lib on sight if he even gets near the perimeter.
That's where we end up at, bro.
Agreed.
I think that too, Jesse. That I want to do it on my own, get the government out of my life. I don't see any other path outside of a shed somewhere in the woods. I don't think I get the Bugatti and shit, and that old Grand National that I wanted. I think I get to use the credit cards and shit. You got to choose one or the other, yeah.
Welcome to Conservataria, Joe. It's also called iPhi for the commies that don't understand what words mean. So
that is true. I'm the one who doesn't understand what words mean.
You haven't understood a single fucking word yet. So wake us up when you do.
Well, I'm playing my silly strategy games because.
Okay, bye. It was fun.
Are you streaming tonight?
Who are you talking to?
Machine.
He might have stepped off.
I got you guys tonight on the stream. It's 7:30.
So JoeCool, I got a new topic for you.
Okay, and I would at some point, it can come later. I want to hear your utopia, your idea of how things work. I want to hear how they work. But
I'm almost out of voice. I can't. That would take like an hour sermon.
All right, so. I got it. We'll save for another time.
I'm sorry.
I'll give you the 101 Cliff's notes. So Christian morality plagiarized into a state separated church. So like no church and state stuff.
Not based.
So what we got now, freedom of religion, but we're plagiarizing Christian morals. So you can't kill or steal or lie. And then we form a libertarian government, which is very, very limited. It's so small. All it does is enforce the borders and protect capitalism. That's all it does. So we don't need any, 3-letter agency spying on you, because this is all going to be public knowledge. It's going to be completely transparent. There's going to be no government for the cronies to coerce,
take over.
So they can't form monopolies. We'll have an antitrust law that prevents any asshole from trying to steal all the goods and then sell it on the market because he's the only one that sells it. So that's not the
only form of monopoly, but I understand what you're saying.
That's the only infringement of capitalism we're going to enforce.
What about
really? Wait, hang on, iPhi. You think the only form of okay?
So JoeCool. So those 3 things are non-negotiable.
What morally about the founded military? Do we pay money for the taxes for the military?
All security will be privately owned and privately funded.
Oh, that's scary.
So if someone tries to invade our country, you, the citizen and the owner of your land, are already well armed, and you can hire as many militias as you want to help protect your land.
How do we get a nuclear bomb in this? Because we're going to need nuclear jets and shit in order to fight in the modern world.
If you're poor, you work and you produce value, and then you earn your place in society.
Kind of sounds like capitalism.
What if technology
everybody
removes
thinks
the
that
need
nuclear
for
bombs are real?
So this is a
what happens when someone come over here in the jet? My 40 caliber ain't gonna do shit.
So this is Chris. This is a meritocracy. It's not a democracy. I don't care if you vote your feelings in.
Yeah, but who decides what merit? Who decides who has
the free market? And the morally founded libertarian government.
People with money.
Okay. So Taylor Swift, by that metric, is the most valuable person on the planet.
then good for her and her fans and her club.
Can't do it.
I'm just saying, like by the standard you just created,
I bet
Taylor Swift is God, is president. I mean, like,
I bet you can't break into her house and steal her shit either, because she has private security forces guarding her.
Beyonce. So our country will be ruled by Taylor Swift, Beyonce, and I don't know, maybe
they ain't gotta be ruled by shit, Chris, because you can do whatever the fuck you want on your land with your business and your community, your friends, your neighbors.
But they'll have all the resources because it's a meritocracy, and then
what resources? They got all the teenage girl dollars. Good for them. Good for Taylor Swift.
Well, hang on. Taylor Swift is a billionaire. Like, she doesn't have chump change. She has.
Last time I checked, teenage girl dollars are worth just as much as adult girl dollars.
And Chris, guess how she pays her private security with teenage girl dollars. So there's the private security that keeps her safe and all her shit safe.
Okay, but
until Russia comes over here and takes over, and now we all speak Russian because we didn't have a fucking military to fight them.
I invite any socialist shithole to try and invade free America.
And
Russia
the capitalists own their own land, are well armed, and can hire as many private security forces
as North Korea, whoever.
If it was Russians or North Korea versus the Bayhive or the Taylor Swift army, then you're right, they'd be fucked.
Yeah. So they would have to get through all of Taylor Swift's private security forces.
They would literally eat them alive. They would actually tear their flesh and just devour them. So, I mean, like, you might be right. Maybe we should be depending on like the rabid Taylor Swifties.
And so,
America's only 14% of the world population.
So Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos can blow as much of their billions of dollars as they want on tanks and jet fighters and all submarines, whatever they want.
Okay,
you think
and then try to see how many fucking Venezuelans invade and take over.
Yeah, Elon
because socialism wrecked their country, and now they're trying to come over to our country and spread socialism here. And see if that works.
Elon might be rich, but he's also a retard. So I mean,
that's his freedom. That's his free right. Yeah.
If he's such a retard,
your president
though,
smart?
Okay, but Lib, if he's such a retard, then why can't we get him on our side? Why can't we if he's
Hey,
that
Lib,
much of a retard?
who's smarter, Elon or
it's
your
a lot.
president?
Biden. Yeah.
Joe Biden. Is Joe Biden smarter than Elon?
Maybe because he's retardedly rich.
Because authoritarians and socialism is better.
I can't get a message to Joe Biden. I'm pretty sure if I tried hard enough, I get a message to Elon Musk. I'm sure I could convince him to give me money though. So if he's that much of a retard,
well, I think the issue with Joe Biden is that he's old. He's not like senile yet.
Yes,
important note.
He's knocking on the door.
Yes, he is.
And he's not, he's old, and so he's fucking slow.
I've had 3 different family members become senile, and they were not as bad as Joe Biden. And that's not a joke. That's not a joke.
By the way, Joe, do you want Joe Biden's finger on the nuke button? I think that a better choice? Do you feel safer that he's in control of the nukes?
I don't know.
Then who? Then
Joe
who?
Biden.
Then who though? Safer than
who?
Me.
I would rather be in control of the nukes than Joe Biden.
I would. The nukes anyway. It's the people that control him or control the nukes. It's not even him anyway. There's other people that control. He's just a puppet figure.
About it anymore.
Do we want Taylor Swift's button on the nuke, finger on the nuke?
I'd rather have Taylor Swift control the nukes than Joe Biden. Yes, Joe.
Yeah.
I vote for Taylor Swift.
Some angry rich billionaires starting fights and get my country fucked up.
I mean, who's Taylor Swift gonna go blow up? What was that girl that was her rival? What?
Ariana Grande.
Perry? She's gonna nuke Ariana Grande or some shit like that. Come on.
Honestly, what are we really losing?
There's no loser. There's no loser.
I mean, the people around Ariana Grande would be lost, and that's valid. I don't want to lose those people. Ariana Grande, I could leave her, take or leave.
Are you sure that's a loss? Are you sure it's a loss?
I mean, the guy living 4 blocks away from Ariana Grande is probably a decent guy.
We'll give them. Maybe. Hey, look, we'll give them plenty of warning, just like they gave the people in Gaza.
Right.
Oh yeah, tons of warning. Oh god.
Go stand in this spot.
We will drop flyers 48 hours in advance, letting them know that you've got to get out. Get out
While I'm talking, I'm gonna try and draw the conversation away from whatever stupid shit iPhi was talking about and talk to Tim. Because I know we've gotten long ways away from that conversation.
Actually, JoeCool was talking, so once again, you lied about it.
I'm okay with changing the conversation.
And so that's the problem with all these fucking communist liars. All they do is lie. They can't even ever tell the truth.
Silence. Lib,
that's all you do is lie. So that's why I don't talk to communist fucking assholes.
So Tim, when we were talking earlier,
I'm going to change the subject to whatever Lib was talking about because he's always trying to derail the subject.
Just mute iPhi for like 5 minutes, dude.
So, Tim, earlier, I know this is like completely off. Well, not even completely, because I think we will probably delve a little bit into this topic about specifically. You think that Vosh has been disingenuous or something to that effect. I guess please restate. I guess what your opinion. I think is important. Just so I know.
Vosh.
Yeah.
Vosh. One of many that I would just love to, I mean, we could do a PowerPoint presentation, but in a nutshell.
Seriously, why do you want to waste time defending Vosh, really?
I mean, it's not so much as a defense, though. I do want to know specifics of why people think that Vosh has changed, been like a grifter or been disingenuous. Because as again, cards on the table, I watch Vosh. I
used to too, and I'm
a fan of his.
Everything I used to watch Vosh regularly. I watched him kind of as a hate watch kind of thing, but
that's fair.
I didn't start out that way, but as it went along, I started seeing the fact that he is clearly he's a capitalist, hardcore capitalist that found a market, and his market is marketing to people that think socialism was a good idea.
Vosh
and he does not himself believe in it.
I'm trying to recall ancient philosophers. Boshism.
Boshism. He's a streamer. He calls himself.
he's a Destiny turd hang around that that broke
That's
off
fair.
from Destiny's little clique and then turned himself into like Mr. highfalutin liberal guy, whatever. But he's a fucking, I don't know. I think he's a fucking waste of fucking human breath as far as I'm concerned. He does not have any real, like, he does not contribute anything positive to the conversation, in my opinion. I have listened to tons of Vosh, and he's mostly bluster. He talks a lot about how great he spends more time talking about how good he is at sex than he does about any actual like political shit. He's just a fucking horn dog, man. He's not worth your time. He's not worth your energy.
He's doing God's work out there. Procreate.
He's doing
God's work. He's talking about horsecock. All right, that's why I stand Vosh. All right, Vosh is out here repping the horsecock lovers of the world.
I'm gonna say that he ripped that off of John Oliver, because John Oliver had that. That horse can fuck, and it was like a sexy horse with a scarf. So it's right there.
He almost
it's all
certainly
derivative.
did.
I don't have as harsh of an opinion of Vosh.
Okay, and you know what, Tim, you just made a really good point. Anyone who is ripping off of John Oliver is, I don't know, that is can you even like categorize?
I mean, there are worse people to rip off than John Oliver. I think John
Oliver's first couple of years in the air were pretty good. John Oliver has turned into utter trash, though. John Oliver's show isn't.
I'm not sure that I agree.
The only times that John Oliver is funny is when he does like his web shorts. Like his web shorts are kind of funny, but in his show itself, he doesn't even make jokes anymore. It's just a bunch of like rote Democratic talking points that have no unique opinions. He uses sources that are completely biased, and he just like, I mean, I lost all respect for him. Like, now he can be funny. He can be funny, and one of his writers is a guy I used to know from crack. Daniel O'Brien is his head writer, and when Daniel O'Brien's stuff like actually gets into the in through the filter in there, and he does his little web short things. He did a web short thing about air, just like it was just a rant about Airbud once. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
The dog.
But for the most part, his show is just trash. I mean, I really want to like it, but it's not good anymore.
For what it's worth, I don't really use John Oliver as like a, I don't know, actual like in-depth like political fucking thing. Like I don't check his sources. Like I just watch it because I find it funny. Usually the topics he goes on.
I used to think he was very valuable. He really
was. He'd have a thesis out in front and make the case.
He did deep dives into some things that like nobody else would, and talked about some subject that nobody else would. But
no, I mean, I don't disagree that like he definitely doesn't do that stuff anymore. But
he got Trump derangement syndrome like everybody else. His brain got totally corrupted by Trump. All he talked was Trump. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't like Trump either. I'm not a Trump fan. I'm just saying, but like, it's a sickness whenever you're obsessed with this one guy and you can't stop talking about him.
I wasn't gonna say this, but I was wondering if you or some other people up here seem to have chosen sides and would make anything coming from this guy you can't listen to. And because he's on the opposition, it's poison. If it's from Google, it's poison. That type of shit.
Okay, I'll tell you this: I still watch John Oliver. I still watch his show. Okay, I still watch it. And every time because I still hope that he's still gonna make like a good episode every now and then. I still watch his shit. The same reason I will occasionally, even I gave up on this one a while back. I still occasionally watch an SNL segment or here and there.
You're optimistic, bro. You're very optimistic. If you're hanging
because hey, you know what? And you know what? I watched the weekend update from last week, weekend update, and there was actually 2 funny jokes in it. I got to give them credit for actually having 2 funny jokes in it in a weekend update segment.
That's almost like having hope in MTV actually having some music videos again. But
good luck.
It's been like 30-something years.
Man, I remember like 15 something years ago, like there was a time period where MTV actually had like some of their bumpers. They actually had a bumper segment at one point that said, "MTV, we don't play music."
That's funny. That's
funny. With Vosh, can I say something? Tie the Taylor Swift Vosh thing together here. I think we are talking about the future we would have without some meaningful republic-based consensus, a collective effort to run our society. Whether those are checks and balances or direct regulation. we are up against a future of techno-feudal celebrity, pseudo-celebrity competitors. And it's going to be the Mad Max of influence. We're already there. So my problem with Vosh, my problem with Taylor Swift, my problem with John Oliver, they're all going to be specific, but it's also going to answer the question JoeCool had about, you know, what's this binary? That's poison. I'm here or there. That's where we're at. It's Mad Max world. Like, what is the authority that's worth trusting in is gone. And I think that's why we see a reactive element towards the reactionary right and, you know, a lot of that stuff.
I mean, I watch and listen to people from all sides. I listen to Cody Johnson still, and because he used to work with me at Crack too, and like, I mean,
he does some good stuff, but it's kind of
his Jordan Peterson takedown was one of the most cringe things I've ever seen, though, because like it was the most cherry pick type of shit. Like, I mean, like
it wasn't
like
there were much better Jordan Peterson takedowns, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he's done some stuff that I actually like made me lose respect for him in a lot of ways. And I used to really genuinely, I used to talk to him in our Slack chat and stuff like that. And I used to think he was a really good guy. I mean, I still think he's a good guy. I just think that he's kind of gotten ideologically captured.
I do think some more news coverage of like BLM has been really important. I think they've done a lot of really good deep dives on a lot of the stuff regarding BLM.
He's done some good stuff. I mean, I'm not saying nothing he's done, but I mean, I'm saying I do listen to people from all sides. I do not live. I listen to a lot more liberal stuff than I do conservative stuff, to be honest. I will occasionally watch I'll occasionally watch a Matt Walsh segment, only because I think Matt Walsh's deadpan is funny.
I don't know how to stop them, Frank. They don't stop with the,
you know, but
do I have any channels with wiki warnings on them already?
I probably a lot of them. And anytime, you know,
I don't get a notice
comes up or anything else. Yeah. I don't go back and check either, but I'm sure that a bunch of them do.
What conspiracy theories are we talking about? Were we even talking about conspiracy?
No,
theories?
not conspiracy theories, but like if you bring up like the C word or I mean, hell, even like I think
Israel.
We did.
I don't know if Israel will trigger anything, but
I mean, I honestly, I mean, we've been having a little, we've had some spirited debate here, but I don't really feel like we've been going conspiracy theory here. Like,
no, it doesn't rely on that. It's all about like the transcripts. I think is how that those warnings work. Is like if they flag certain words or phrases, they'll just put up the wiki warning. Yeah, it's a little weird. It's not ideal. I mean, I'm not against the idea of it, but it's not.
So with Vosh, I take issue with his inconsistency. He starts as an anarcho-libertarian, which I think was, you know, sounding like others here, have spent a lot of time trying to get a breadth of exposure to different people, see where they're at. And what I've observed since 2020, it's cheesy, but I like it. The idea of 2020 being perfect vision. We all got perfect vision on 2020. I mean, that's kind of where we're at. And most of what I'm seeing is imitation and affect, reaction. It is not genuine. It is not authentic. It is not well informed. And more importantly, it's not rooted in an authority or an ideal that's worth considering as such. So it's all decorum policing. It's all decorum policing and affect policing and making sure the terms are right. Go ahead. I want to hear what you want to ask about.
I was gonna say again, like you're doing these like broad sort of.
But he is broad. That's the point. That's the point.
You're being vague. What I'm saying is that like I could see what you're saying, but like I'm saying I want I guess I'm asking for like examples of, you know, hey, Vosh had this firm opinion here, and then later on he changed it without any like inciting incident, I guess.
Oh my God.
So
hey guys, I'm gonna cut out. I'm gonna do some editing. I can't speak intelligently on Vosh.
I mean, I get what you're saying, Liv, and like it's fair to ask for like the sources and the receipts on that sort of thing, but I know I've heard it, but like I can't say that I ever took the time to like, you know, clip it and like write it down and everything.
Blindfolded with a stick, you could make the case. Just point at something, but we don't need to go that far.
I can point at like specific things where like he's had I think relatively consistent views. For instance, his support of unions. All right,
imitated affect, not something he's earned through experience.
What do you mean? What do you mean by imitated affect? Because
it is prescribing to the false binary that I think JoeCool was getting at. Like he's saying, why do you pick sides? But then he asks something about what makes something poison, which is a more broad concern. But there is a binary, a social binary that people expect to either be seen as or see as. And he operates on that communist versus fascist social mentality, where he is siding with allies and allyship without being an ally himself. So I could take him to task over the ideals functionally. He is inconsistent from day one because he's always been chasing an audience, not an effect. He creates and perpetuates an affect.
I'm not convinced that's true because
he jumps to the term fascist so quickly. I mean, come on.
Just demonstrates the behavior. We could go down the bingo checklist.
Let's be at least clear that like when I have seen him talk to like a lot of like actual
capacity for
fascists.
He has intellect. Okay. I'm saying he, as a political activist, no less a public personality.
Yeah, he's a propagandist.
More destructive than he is.
Did you see his debate with Count Dankula? I mean, dude,
old
that
school
was
one.
That was pathetic.
That's an old school one.
I know that's old school, but
I know. I don't think.
Yeah,
that definitely wasn't his. I think the best moment, though. I would, if you want to hang on, if you want to talk about like I think good old school debates, the second Vosh Sargon debate was I think like the pinnacle, because Sargon is let's be clear a ethno-nationalist. He's like a fascist. He's like a dyed-in-the-wool fascist. It's Sargon of Akkad. He's not
very smart. Sargon of Akkad.
I don't think he's smart, but I don't think he's a dyed-in-the-wool fascist. I really don't. I haven't.
Well, no. I don't think he's smart enough to be like an he's not like he doesn't know that he's ideologically a fascist, but like he is ideologically indistinguishable from a fascist. He's not smart enough to recognize that, but
honestly, these days, maybe he used to be, but these days he's a pretty just down the middle conservative. He's not any more fascist than your.
Oh yeah. Well, no, nowadays, because like a lot of that like ethno-nationalist stuff, especially in Britain, has kind of sort of bled into their sort of conservative party as a whole, with like the Brexit stuff.
Immigration in Europe. Doesn't it deserve the reactive right that it has? Shouldn't you have Europe just enraged against immigrants right now? Well, that's where we're going to disagree. Have you actually looked at the problem, seen the crime statistics?
I have.
The apologia that the Voshites put up are all poisoned data sets. They're all along this binary. This is why the John Oliver post-2020 is no good, because there is no room for nuance or disagreement or dialectic or even dichotomies anymore.
This is the thing. There is room for nuance. That's, I think,
there's definitely room for nuance. It's not taken advantage of. What I'm saying. That's not the ideal. That's
the problem. The problem is you have what I would call bad actors. I would call fascists broadly as bad actors.
But how can you ignore the immigration problem across Europe?
I'm not ignoring it. What I'm saying is the issue with that immigration problem
in Europe, whom you will call fascists, are a reactive social element that I think is deserved. And by pretending that they're just taking it too far, even though
it's not that they're taking it too far. What it is that like, so immigration is like it's more of a logistical problem than like a
Europe. Just Europe.
I would argue even here it's not a racial problem.
Very, very different here.
No, it is different. But here it's not it's also not a racial problem. Is what I'm pointing out, that like the problem is
a racial problem. People talk about you better learn how to speak English, blah blah blah. You mean in America it's a racial problem in both?
No, I mean like there are people who take issue from it because they're racist, but that's not like a legitimate like problem. Right, like the
racist explanation for what the problem is not the actual explanation.
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you.
And that's the same thing it is in Europe, because in Europe they're like, oh, it's all these like fucking uncultured people who just like rape women and do all this shit.
Arabs and Muslims, they're North Africans, Central Africans. They are criminals. They stop tractor trailers all the time. They do rape women. Have you seen Zombieland in Germany, the open market crack place? It is worth the reaction that this right is creating. The problem is the right is full of morons. And they look to other morons to say, look, they agree with me. And that's all they want. Yes. They want someone to say.
The problem is they're saying all of these problems are because, Arabs are just, lesser human beings. They don't usually use those words, but they usually say, oh, their culture is different.
Well, there we are. That is the problem. There is a cultural difference. That's where I think the line is. That's the argument. It's not.
But again, that's a logistical problem, though. That's not a racial problem. That's not like Arabs aren't worse because they're Arab. Like
I agree.
The issues,
no, they're
the
not.
issues are cultural.
They're individuals within those groups that are terrible people that make the rest of their group look bad, and they
immigrants are overloading those countries. And
that's the thing. Actually, that's part of the thing. They're not is even part of it. So, like for instance, Britain, right? Britain did not take in a statistically significant portion of immigrants that would have like destroyed their economy or their social fabric, and yet because they took in a number of immigrants, that emboldened the far right within their country to basically fearmonger and do the whole Brexit thing. Okay, like there definitely were problems with immigration, but here's the thing: the actual problems with immigration, at least in Europe, were predominantly in countries that were like more border to the east, like Hungary, Poland, and those issues predominantly
migration routes, and they all want to get to the UK. That's why they hijack trucks on the border to get into the UK.
Here's the thing, though: those issues weren't predominantly because of the immigrants inherently. It was because of the government's reactions to the immigration. Hungary,
I agree with that, but it still doesn't negate the problem. It doesn't say there's no immigration problem. It says there's another reason than racism to explain it.
Yes, no. That's what I'm getting at.
There's still a problem that justifies the reaction, even though their explanation.
That doesn't. Okay. So when you say justifies the reaction, what you're saying is that obviously there should be a reaction. However, the reaction that was prompted was one that was hijacked by the far right, racists, whatever, within Europe, and that's the problem. Okay, then I agree.
That's part of the problem. But then the problem I want to bring us to is Vosh and similar communities online that claim themselves to be leftists, pursuing an ideal that is progress-oriented and ahead of us rather than reverting, which would explain the right.
Sure.
Instead of actually doing that, they police your opinions to say, oh, are you anti-immigrant? And they equivocate. They say the United States immigration problem, which isn't that big of a deal. It's a big deal, but it's not like it is in Europe. And what we do as the left is we look at people who don't conform to these social affects, and then we say, oh, you're a fascist. And there is, of course, there's room for nuance, but we as the left do not take the opportunity to investigate it. We instead hold ourselves to this BS standard of solidarity.
No, I actually do. So this is the thing. I do agree. In the broader left, I do think we have a problem with the label fascist. I do think that there are a lot of people who don't haven't critically examined what that word means, the connotations that it brings, and also what actually really makes somebody a fascist. Because also, again, someone can be a fascist without calling themselves a fascist. I do think that's a thing. For instance, the Democratic Republic of North Korea is not a democracy nor a republic. So we don't call it that, but we do still call it that thing. But we can still call it what it is, which is an authoritarian, almost monarchist regime. But just because they don't call themselves that doesn't mean we can't call them that, because that's what they act like.
Jonah Goldberg, I'm sorry, my mic just did something weird. Jonah Goldberg has a really good book. I'm not saying I endorse everything Jonah Goldberg says and does.
Sure.
But his book, Liberal Fascism, is a quality standard by which to at least start the conversation.
I agree. And I think, and one of the things that I try and bring up is how, at least making the distinction where I know people hear that phrase or whatever, liberal fascism, and they think, oh, you're just calling liberals fascists. And I don't think, and that's
Take care, Chris.
absolutely not the case. In fact, one of the thing that's the liberal fascism book, and also if you look at sort of like history, liberal governments have oftentimes, especially in Europe, more so allied themselves with fascists against socialists. That happened in Germany. That particularly happened in Germany.
Freikorps, right? Yeah, and I think we're going to be on the same page with most of these things. But the prescriptive, both the prescriptive ideal
I
that we
gotta
could
go make dinner, guys. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up soon anyway.
Yeah, I've greatly appreciated this.
Yeah,
you know,
I did
it's
too.
good to be able to kind of get some of these pieces out on the table. I'm sorry if I made them worse or better. Or
No.
I appreciate the conversation.
Every single person that includes iPhi, includes Lib, includes I think everybody has contributed something to the conversation. I think it's been a really good debate. And it's a good episode, guys. There's no, believe me, we've never had an episode where there's hard feelings at the end of it. We're all friends at the end of the day. We'll all hang out in Discord, we all talk, and we'll all be friends. So just don't worry about it like that. We're all just human beings.
I'm even fine with iPhi. I know he's not fine with me, but like, I mean, I don't take any of this like shit personally.
Well, he has a strong bias against commies.
Yeah, that's true.
A question: Twin Peaks.
Don't even. Huh?
Yeah, we're gonna watch some more Twin Peaks here a little bit. I'm gonna make dinner first, but I'm back. We're gonna watch some Twin. Yeah, exactly. We're one episode into season 2. If you want to.
Yeah, we're about halfway through. We have 8 more episodes at least to wrap up that storyline.
Oh man! Let me just say one little thing for the bow here. I think that the reactive right, whether you're looking at Jordan B. Peterson or Sam Harris, which are like the difference between Pluto and Mercury,
reactive right to you.
What's that?
That's reactive right to you. Jordan Peterson is Sam Harris.
Oh, maybe
not Sam Harris.
I like Sam Harris until recently, until he showed his colors.
Peterson's definitely on the right. Peterson's definitely on the right.
Peterson is reactive right.
One quick thing, I'm jumping off. I just want to say that that Brown's boy, Kala is asking if I'm eating.
That's Lanza.
That's a low blow, man. That's a low blow.
What?
That hurts me right here. It's really hurts me. So anyway,
all right, Brown's boy.
He's throwing crumbs to the.
You mean you like the Cleveland Browns? Does this mean the guys like the Cleveland Browns? God, who the fuck likes the Cleveland Browns?
I think the right is to react as they are. I think they're wrong in how they carry their reaction. And I wish the left would get their brains out of their butts and start dealing with that and say, you should be upset. You should be frustrated and you should be ready to actually revolt, but do it in a smart way. Don't be retarded about it. You know, there's
that H Bomber quote where it's like at the end of this video where he's talking about the flat earth, he's like, you're right to feel that something's wrong in the world, that stuff is wrong, but the earth isn't flat. Like it's like you're right to feel, like people on the right are right to feel that something's wrong in the world, but like Jews aren't controlling the world or whatever their conspiracy theory is. I mean, come on.
Judeo-Christian, the Islam, Judaism, and Christianity most certainly have. Anyways, that's another conversation. And
actually, unironically, I would love to have that conversation with you, Tim. I do think we could have a very nuanced conversation about that.
Tomorrow, same time.
Tomorrow's the Super Bowl, so I'm watching the Super Bowl.
That's
is that tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm making food and everything.
Oh, that's dope. We'll have to do something sportsy.
Sports ball.
Sports ball. Go sports ball. Go team.
All right, friends. I'll head on out to. I'll try and
Actually, Tim, do you have like a channel or something? Do you have a channel? Twitter?
Yeah, if you put the link in the back, I'll.
No, but I'll be coming back around here and maybe we can exchange.
Yeah, hang on the Discord. Honestly,
is there a link for that?
Yeah, let me.
If you throw a link in the,
let me grab it. I'll put it in the private.
Okay, cool.
Hell yeah, we love.
All right,
I'd love to talk to you more. So
I enjoy that we can get past the lip of outrageous, fun internet trolling and and into the meat of the matter.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, love and peace and liberty and all that good stuff to you, friends.
Hell yeah.
I'll catch you soon.
Yep. I'll see y'all later.
Yeah. Jesse, good to see you as always. Redington, you as well. And I guess everybody else is gone. So we will do it again tomorrow at the same time, 2 p.m. Central. They tell me we're almost at 200, which just blows my mind because we're trying to get to 500. That means we're almost halfway there. So thank you so much, and keep telling your friends, I guess. I feel like we're almost at the halfway point. And see you again tomorrow. Unless you want to come hang out on the Discord, just contact me for the link. We're going to go watch some TV. Oh, yeah. Peace out, Redington. I wish I had my cheetah.